It's dragon time.
It is so dragon time right now.
We are here to talk about House of the Dragon, Season 3, Episode 6.
We just watched it, and now we're going to tell you what we thought about it. Old SwiftX, what did you think of House of the Dragon Season 3, Episode 6?
I loved it. I loved it a lot. Like, I was surprised. It just came on me like a truck at a train at a bus factory. You know what I mean? Like, I was just like, whoo, hwah, kablamo.
A bus and a train? That's insane.
Well, you wouldn't expect that.
No, yeah, and that's the thing. I wasn't expecting this either.
I was not expecting to see the dragon eggs of Rhaena Targaryen at Harrenhal.
I'm so happy for you that Aemond Targaryen said Dreamfire like that.
I was not expecting Alan and Baela to pash.
No, I was expecting that to come a little later, if I'm honest.
I was not expecting Aegon to make a thoughtful decision choosing
crazy.
Between Tyland and Larys.
Yeah, he judged a character and then made a decision based on that. It's a brave new world for Aegon Targaryen. I was not expecting Rhaenyra to send Alicent to kill her son.
I was not expecting Rhaenyra to send a team of stinky assassins after the Hightowers.
It almost worked, too.
Yeah, we're going very far off the books here, even more than last week.
But are we having fun?
We're having an
I'm having a
amount of
ball.
fun.
I'm having a butcher's ball.
Butcher's ball.
Kristen Cole dies, by the way, everyone. Oh my god.
Oh, how they will weep for Kristen Cole.
I think the songs will be sung in the halls of power for years to come.
Yeah, I have notes about Kristen's death. They cut out the most iconic line. I don't know why, but we'll get to it.
We'll get to it. We'll talk about every scene in detail, by the way, and there's a spoiler zone at the end, and the podcast is twice as long on Nebula. Yeah, and it comes out right after the episode airs.
Yeah, in case the runtime didn't give it away, we will discuss in detail.
Well, we somehow still miss things. It's crazy. It really is.
Yeah, well, we never claim to be comprehensive.
Just long-winded.
There will be no spoilers in this chat except for the spoiler zone, which is located at the end of this discussion on your right.
Please keep your lizards within the ride for the duration.
Keep your tails and scales inside the vehicle
That's good.
At all times.
Tails, scales, and no ale with the lads. Toot toot. Dragon time. Talk about the lizards. Breathing fire in the sky. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm Glidus, and I also loved this episode. So I was expecting episode 5 to be a big battle at Tumbleton, and I was like, surely episode 6 is going to be a big battle at Tumbleton, and it's another tense character study about the interactions between these people. We're exploring themes. Plots are moving at some pace, but not eruptively, and I still loved it.
Yeah, certainly some of this was built up, but it was explosive as well. Like Kat and Hugh had this big climactic bust up. And Alice and Aemond coming together felt big. And Alicent leaving King's Landing and leaving Helena behind. And, Jane Arryn slapping Rhaena Targaryen across the face.
We see Jane Arryn throws someone out the moon door, which we haven't seen anyone do since 2014, when Littlefinger pushed Lysa out the moon door.
We didn't see who that was.
Yeah, it's just that's what Jane Arryn's up to today.
So yeah, I feel like this episode moved things forward and heightened the stakes and promised exciting things to come.
It also gave some exciting things. All season we've been wondering what's it going to be like when Gwaine and Darren get to talk to each other. Yeah. When's Helena going to complain to Alicent about the life she gave her, right? When are Baela and Alan going to pash?
Well, when are people going to talk about the fact that Helena sees the future?
Yeah, we've finally
been
happened.
Screaming that since 2022, and now Alicent acknowledged it, and Rhaenyra acknowledged it, and that's so fun and great.
What I loved about that scene is that Alicent doesn't really understand what's going on. Just Helena sees shit sometimes, and Rhaenyra understands that she's a dreamer. Yeah. Rhaenyra understands the weight of that, and I think that's lovely.
Daemon killed a guy
and got in a spat with Ulf. Golas got kidnapped by Johnny Roxton.
Yeah, the bold John Roxton squad got him.
Shall we talk about this episode in excruciating detail?
Let's begin.
Let's do it. And it begins with a beautiful shot.
So the opening scene is Kristen's army, his ragged band of Crownlanders. It's really not an army. It seems like 30 blokes covered in mud who need a fucking nap. And they march on and they find something odd. They find a bunch of rivermen who are lying apparently dead, but it's not clear who killed them. And as they approach, they find that these rivermen are in fact ambushing them. And they leap up and attack Kristen's men.
Yeah, the Riverlord's army must have a pretty good prosthetics team.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, some of them looked wounded for real. I think some of them were dead, but some of them weren't.
I think that the soldiers were mixed in with existing corpses.
Oscar Tully, the young lord of Riverrun, was, talking big talk about building temples out of the bones of his enemies. When, last season he was not quite that intense.
Yeah, when we met him, he was like, oh, I'm just a little boy and I don't know if I'm going to be powerful enough to rule the Riverlands. And then Damon killed my Alice Rivers killed my granddad. And now I will build a sept from your bones, Kristen Cole, die for me. I mean, this is what war does to boys, isn't it?
Sometimes it makes them corpses. Sometimes it makes them into people who build things from bones. I like the corpse thing. It is a thing that is in the books. I do think that the corpse ambush was silly. Like, I don't think it like made sense in the way that they did it. Because, like, how long were those rivermen lying there?
Oh, quick, they're coming over the hill. Lie down, quickly. We've only got like 3 minutes.
And like the rivermen already had Kristen's army surrounded with like 200 times their number. So what did they accomplish by doing that corpse trick?
In fact, the outcome of this is that more rivermen died.
Exactly.
Because Kristen won that little battle.
Yeah.
Before being surrounded. It must be said, it's fucking funny when like Kristen's celebrating, we light the way, and then you see the huge army surrounding him.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's comical in the book as well. Like, it's farcical. It doesn't actually make all that much sense, really, but it's fun.
Yeah. Look, yeah, it's fun, it's different, it's surprising. I enjoy it as a sequence, but yeah, I don't think it makes any, like, tactical sense as far as I can see.
Of course.
I mean, I thought that the, like, fight choreography was really cool. Like, the brutality of Kristen's mace and the way he, like, stabbed that guy a bunch of times. And
yeah, bringing the mace back is, like, we're reminded of Kristen's origins, right? Because he used a mace in the first tourney in Season 1, Episode 1 when he beat Daemon Targaryen. Yeah. So that's fun. That's cool.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. And I loved Screaming We Light the way, connecting to Kristen's love for Alicent and connecting to the shot that comes afterwards, which is of Alicent in the dark with a torchlight approaching. So, connecting it visually and also connecting to the end of the previous episode, which also was Alicent in the dark with a light, as well as Daemon with light in the darkness and Kristen with light in the darkness. So, like, the end of last episode and the next scene, this episode, it all connects to the imagery of light, and that is what Alicent is to Kristen. Even though what Kristen is to Alicent is a shameful, terrible mistake. And so I like how this death for Kristen, it is both kind of beautiful and tragic, dying for his love, but it also is stupid and embarrassing because Kristen ultimately achieved nothing. So yeah, I kind of like how they took Kristen, who's one of the most like evil and loathsome characters. He's a murderer and he's treacherous and he's done all these terrible things. And yet we can't help but feel sorry for him when he dies.
Yeah, I can absolutely see a reading where Oscar and Roddy and Ali are the bad guys in this scene.
Yeah.
Because Kristen was like a hero determined to fight to the very end. Of course, Kristen was a lot of other things, but that is also true.
Yeah, but
they like disgracefully killed him. He was mid-speech about to do an awesome epic duel to like go out in a blaze of glory, and Ali just shot him. Yeah. Now, of course, I love that Ali Blackwood kills Kristen Cole, that like the powerful woman of the army is the one who strikes down this like symbol of misogyny, right?
Yeah. So in the show, Kristen challenges Oscar Tully and Roderick Dustin to a duel 2-on-1, which doesn't seem super fair because Oscar's a very small young boy and Roderick's a very older man. In the books, it's more badass because Kristen challenges 3 men to a 3-on-1, and the 3 men are Roderick Dustin, then Garibald Grey, and Pate of Longleaf, who are characters who are, Pate killed Jason Lannister and Garibaldi Grey seems competent. So, like, it's kind of more badass in the book, is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
And the other thing that the book has, which I think is actually important, is that Kristen challenges them to the duel, and then Garibaldi says, "I'll have no songs about how brave you died, Kingmaker.
Yeah.
There's tens of thousands dead on your account."
Yeah, I also wish... So, yeah, that's really important, and I'm a little aggrieved that they didn't include that.
Kristen's desire for honor and glory was ultimately... It was a misplaced dream that led to evil.
Well, Oscar does say that he made a promise to his dead. So I feel like that's something, I guess. The people for whom Kristen is responsible for the deaths of.
I think that Kristen's fighting in this battle looked badass. And that itself is kind of a problem. Because, like, the whole point in the book is that Kristen doesn't get a glorious badass death. The whole point is that his desire for glory was misplaced, and he dies in a forgettable, dishonorable, uncool way. And so I think that in the show they kind of ruin that by giving Kristen a cool, badass fight before he dies. Like, Kristen kind of does go out like a cool dude, and that is maybe undercutting it.
It's sort of having its cake and eating it. I think it looks awesome, but yeah, thinking about it a bit more, it does fail to deliver a few things that the book does do. Oh, he dies with Alice's favor in his hand. That's nice.
The little Alicent hanky.
Now, that sort of detail is too personal to have made it into a history book like Fire and Blood, so I'm glad, like, the show is giving more based on what it as a medium can, right?
I like how Kristen's clothes, which were once white, and his cloak, which was once white, have all gone dark and muddy, but the Alicent handkerchief is still white.
His love is still pure.
Yeah. It's like the one thing that is pure about Kristen. Of course, except, we know that his relationship with Alicent was so toxic and messed up, but, like, it's pure to him.
For him, it was pure.
It's the one good thing for him.
Yeah, I think you're right. In the way the show presents it, there could be songs written about this. There could be songs of Kristen Cole's death that make him a tragic hero.
Yeah.
As opposed to in the book where, it's pointless and shitty.
It's an extremely cool shot seeing 1 trillion Rivermen rush at like 10 of Kristen's men. But it does beg the question, why was that corpse ambush necessary? And how did they surround him without him noticing?
I think it's a bold way to start the episode, if nothing else.
Yeah, well, I think the very fact that his death happens so suddenly at the very beginning of the episode is also a surprising anticlimactic thing.
That's unceremonious.
Like, it could have been the big, long climactic ending to an episode, but he just suddenly dies at the start. So the structure and pacing of it is calculated to be surprising and perhaps anticlimactic. There's a very short shot of Alicent and Helena being discovered by Rhaenyra's men inside the secret tunnel through which they tried to escape in the previous episode.
Something we didn't pick up previous episode is we knew that Alicent and Helena had been living in the room which was previously young Rhaenyra's room, Millie Alcock's room back in season 1. Something we didn't pick up on is that this tunnel is the exact same tunnel that Daemon had Rhaenyra sneak out of in season 1 episode 4 to explore her sexual freedom. And when Alicent and Helena go down that same tunnel, it's blocked off for them.
Yeah, Alicent and Helena have not had the same freedoms that Rhaenyra has had.
And that's been the thing the whole time. Like, Alicent's initial rift with Rhaenyra was caused by unequal access to perceived sexual freedom.
And to add to it all, Alicent drank moon tea last episode, and so now she's probably having the most uncomfortable period of her life in total darkness inside the walls with her angry daughter. So this is a pretty unpleasant day for Alicent Hightower.
Grim time, and to be stuck up against a brick wall that is in between her and the tunnel of sexual freedom. My goodness, like, her womb is going through so much symbolically as well. Imagine drinking an abortifacient on an empty womb. It's so symbolically rife. Like, what do we even do?
Who is blameless and who is deserving?
Orwell is like, okay, Rhaenyra, who are you going to send to assassinate Ormond Hightower?
By the way, Your Grace, a bunch of Baratheon men have arrived.
So Rhaenyra literally just picks the first people who walk in the castle to be her assassins.
I do love that Rhaenyra makes the guys dirty when they go to assassinate Ormond.
Well, she's using the intel that Alicent told her, that Ormond is vulnerable to smells.
Like, it almost works, doesn't it? If Gwaine wasn't there, it would have worked.
Yeah.
This is the episode of Ormond being wrong about everything, actually.
Yeah.
I really love it.
I agree, because I think last episode and like several previous episodes have been about building up Ormond as a scary and capable adversary. And this episode showed all of Ormond's weaknesses, and he's wrong about stuff. And, you know, Gwaine turns out to be way more helpful and competent than he is. And Darren gets to like express his hatred of Ormond. And we're like, oh, okay, Ormond does have chinks in his armor.
Yeah, and the people around him are well aware of it.
Yeah.
I fucking love that he says, call us Velaryon. Now, that was a good decision, Rhaenyra making him her hand. And it's like, that's the fucking first thing that she got wrong.
It's also funny how, like, Ormond is like, well, Rhaenyra's hopeless. She'll never accomplish anything, but she's a woman. But, like, Ormond is like, oh, well, she did do this thing right, though. That was smart making call us hand. And yeah, you know, women aren't good at war, but Miriam Martell, she was really good at war. Like, Ormond keeps bringing up
there's a caveat
exceptions to his rules, and it's like, maybe you might be wrong about
the Targaryens are bad at everything, but they are cunning and they are strong, but we're cunning, and they're cunning, but we are strong. It's like he's so inconsistent and hypocritical. It's awesome.
So Daemon is very upset and angry and restless because his friend Luther was just murdered along with dozens of other gold cloaks, and he's very upset about it.
Not so long ago, Daemon lost Simon. He doesn't know if Alice is alive.
Yeah.
Damon is losing all the people he's actually been close with.
Yeah. It's just so adorable how he calls Luther his friend.
Yeah. Have we ever caught Damon calling someone his friend before?
Yeah, I don't know if he's used the word before.
Yeah. Damon knows what friends are.
I think that he's really showing his vulnerability more than usual. Like, after his Harrenhal therapy trip, he really is, like, kind of admitting that he cares about people more explicitly than he used to.
Yeah, he feels very threatened right now, and in the past he wouldn't have told us that.
It's really fun how Daemon reacts and says, oh, that's what it's really all about. It's all about Viserys. And it's so fun that after all these years, Daemon and Rhaenyra are still competing for the approval of Viserys, Rhaenyra's dead father, Daemon's dead brother. They're still fighting over Viserys.
And he wasn't good.
Viserys
was not good. It's just that his love was so alluring to a family that's so sparing about love, right? And like, it's the same thing is true for all of Viserys' children as well, not just Rhaenyra.
Yeah.
I like how Rhaenyra says that the great houses watch while Ormond humiliates us. Like, the great houses are relevant this episode, and that line sets it up.
Yeah, true.
Because the Baratheon delegation is really important to the plot of this episode. Jane Arryn is relevant. Tywin Lannister's back. I am shocked and amazed that Daemon talks about the prophecy in front of the small council.
Yeah, this is the first time that anyone other than Viserys, Rhaenyra, and Daemon, and maybe also Alicent, has heard about the prophecy.
Rhaenyra and Daemon have discussed this exclusively in High Valyrian, in hushed private meetings.
Yeah.
And here he's like, no, but Rhaenyra, the prophecy, Aegon got to do it, so why don't I get to do it?
Yeah, well, you gotta wonder what, like, Torrhen Manderley and Lady Frey are thinking.
Like, what, fucking prophecy? I thought I was here to count coins.
Yeah, like, they were just still trying to learn the names of the other council members, and they're like, huh?
So is that
I gotta learn about a
Aemond?
prophecy still?
Why is one called Rhaenyra when there's a Rhaeno going around somewhere? When Rhaenyra says, all right, fine, I'll send assassins to kill Ormond instead of a dragon, because that'd be really dumb, sending a dragon, because burning innocent people. Several times this season, people have talked about dragons being imprecise weapons, and Daemon throws a wine goblet at Torrhen Manderley and misses. Imprecise weapon, perhaps? Interesting. But it's fucking hilarious.
Daemon too is very much an imprecise weapon.
Yeah.
I mean, Daemon was an imprecise weapon when he tried to get Aemond assassinated by blood and cheese, and Jaehaerys got killed.
Yeah, metaphors. And yeah, he misses Torrin Manderly, and it is hilarious, it must be said. So Rhaenyra says, I'll send knives to kill Ormond, and Daemon's like, all right, cool, off I go. As soon as she says that, he's up out of his chair, off I go to kill Ormond.
He's like, I'll get my murder hoodie.
Yeah, and then Rhaenyra denies him that, says, no, it can't be you, don't be ridiculous. An assassin must have a plain face, which is really interesting when Gwaine later says in the episode, this assassin is ugly, he couldn't possibly be Aryan Baratheon, right? Because a plain face, Gwaine says he's comelier than that. So that's how Gwaine recognizes it. It's so fun. And Daemon says, I will have my satisfaction.
Right.
Very important word this season, it turns out.
Well, that's a very important word for Daemon always, because since season 1, episode 1, we've seen him failing to get sexual satisfaction with Mysaria, with Rhaenyra, with Rhea, and so Daemon's way of getting satisfaction is murder.
Sword. It's with his sword, which is his surrogate dick, right?
Yeah. So the councillors talk about how dragons are going to get innocent people killed, and I know I keep harping on about this, but why do they think that sending Roddy the Ruin and Oscar Tully into Tumbleton is not gonna get innocent people killed? We've seen in this franchise many times, and in the books many times, that when armies sack cities, innocent people get robbed and killed. And it's kind of weird to me that they're just these northern barbarians, the Winter Wolves, they are a precise instrument.
Who have come to die for the Dragon Queen, specifically.
Exactly.
And Oscar Tully, who is seemingly more and more becoming a war psycho. Are they going to be less... I mean, they are going to be less catastrophic than a dragon fight, let's be clear. But I think they really should steer into the optics of burning a city down with dragons. Daemon continues his trend of walking away and saying something so that no one can respond to him. He's such a petulant child. Alan says, we could have Velaryon men be the city watch for now. And Daemon... I don't know what Daemon's beef with House Velaryon currently is, because Daemon's like, no...
Well, I think
I'm the City Watch now.
I think that Alan was saying the Velaryon men will help Daemon investigate the murders, but Daemon's like, nah, I'm gonna do this myself by disguising myself as a gold cloak, and that's the plan that I'm gonna do.
And because he's an imprecise weapon, Ormond's spy finds out that Ulf has problems with Daemon.
Yeah, well, that was a whole stupid error by Daemon to be so rude at Ulf. But it kind of made sense because Daemon had just killed a guy who was defying him, and so Daemon's blood is up.
City Watch members were being murdered on the streets. Being annoyed at Ulf for being out on the street. Ulf's an incredibly important asset. He needs to be under control from Daemon's point of view. But from Ulf's point of view, I haven't had an ale with Lalage. It's the only thing that's important.
Well, it's such a simple, small ask from Ulf's perspective. Daemon says, the prophecy, you must rule and unite the realm for the prophecy to save the world. And Daemon says, whatever you do in the service of the prophecy is justified.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that line because it is so true about the prophecy in all the history of the Targaryens.
The specific act that Daemon brings us up in relation to is Aegon. Daemon says that Aegon burned thousands on the field of fire. Aegon conquered all of Westeros except for Dorne in the name, if House of the Dragon is to be believed, in the name of this prophecy.
Rhaenyra says that Aegon burned enemy soldiers, but Daemon's talking about potentially burning innocent civilians in Tumbleton. Rhaenyra is suggesting she doesn't want to commit the war crime of killing civilians. And Daemon says, well, the people are dumb and stupid, actually, and they will just follow anyone.
They declared for you, after all. They'd follow a mule. That's insane. That's such an insult.
So Rhaenyra's like, well, I don't want to commit the war crime of killing civilians, so instead I'll commit the war crime of sending a false envoy to assassinate a lord. I mean, that is also seen as a moral evil in this world.
I think there are degrees to these things. But yeah, no, that is sin. That's sin.
I like how it's Orwyle who suggests a treacherous assassination mission.
He is scrabbling to be useful.
But I really enjoy the vibe of Orwyle as the unassuming scholar who is actually an expert in smuggling and assassination. Yeah. So a delegation of Baratheons arrive. And so this poor diplomat, Aryan Baratheon, Is he a Baratheon? I don't think he's a Baratheon.
The assassin claims that he's Sir Aryan Baratheon.
Well, yeah. But the point is that his job is to tell Rhaenyra that Boros is not going to help her in the war. Rhaenyra demanded an army, and Boros is not sending an army. And instead, Boros has marched into Dorne to fight some Dornish raiders. The Vulture King. But yeah, Boros just doesn't want to be involved in Rhaenyra's war. So this diplomat has been given the shit end of the stick, having to tell the Dragon Queen that Boros won't help. And he says, well, if there's anything I can do for you. He's like a customer service agent. I can't give you what you want, but if I can give you something that you don't want.
But it turns out Rhaenyra wants someone to kill Ormond Hightower.
Yeah, so she takes the Baratheons' clothes and puts them on some of her men and sends them to Tumbleton to kill Ormond.
After covering them with poop. I do like how angry Rhaenyra gets that Boros is busy fighting like the perennial Baratheon problem instead of dealing with my shit, instead of taking me, the Dragon Queen, seriously. Yeah. Like, can you believe that this guy is treating me like this?
I love Rhaenyra's anger in this episode. Like, she's just fed up with everyone's shit.
Yeah, including Alicent's, which is crazy.
It's great. It's satisfying. Because I feel like in the previous episodes, Rhaenyra's been like, oh, I'm so sad about Jace, or like, oh, I'm so overwhelmed by being queen. But this time she's like, nah, fuck you. This is how it's gonna be. Rhaenyra is decisive, she's doing stuff, and she's telling people what she thinks, and she's pissed, and she's showing it, and I like it.
It's like a pole switch, because this has come about just as Daemon has become like, oh, I don't know, I'm scared that my friends are all dying. Oh. Okay, so in this scene, Hugh and Ulf talk, but first, Vermithor does a little fly over Tumbleton, and it's great, and he goes like, it's awesome, and then he lands and he nuzzles up with his wife Silverwing. It's fucking adorable.
I think it's cute and great.
Anyway, the upshot of this scene is Hugh and Ulf talking about, well, Ulf basically talking about his
change of circumstances.
Yeah, and how he's not entirely thrilled about his new life.
Ulf talks about how he misses Market Day at King's Landing. He misses just like the average normal daily life of going to the shops and chatting with people. And yes, it was difficult because he was poor, but part of him misses it. And he never would go back to it. Because, like, it was no fun being poor, but...
Is his life better now?
Yeah.
Yeah. He says, but we're not the same, are we? So he's done the Campbellian hero's journey thing of, like, going off, doing an adventure, coming back, and realizing that things aren't the same. He's just saying that out loud.
Yeah. He's done the hero's journey, lickety-split.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing that Kat says to Hugh later, which is, you smell different. Who are you?
Yeah.
I mean, the whole thesis of this entire series is that power changes you, and power affects your soul and who you are and the choices you make. And the power of having dragons has changed Hugh and Ulf irreversibly.
But Ulf still pines for hot pies.
Well, there's something so melancholy and beautiful about missing a version of yourself that is gone.
Yeah.
Like missing who you used to be. There's something so sad and beautiful about that.
And Hugh has to confront that when his wife doesn't even recognize him.
Yeah.
So this scene, I think, is what sets Hugh in motion. Like, Hugh wouldn't have invaded Tumbleton, wouldn't have maybe he would have sought Cat out, but I think that talking to Hugh has made him do something more rashly than he otherwise would have.
Yeah, for sure. Ulf misses hot pies, and Hugh misses his misses.
Yeah. Ulf pines for pies, Hugh misses his misses. Hugh says it will soon be the same again, I imagine. So they're projecting that, it's going to be, things will go back to normal eventually. But Ulf knows that things can never go back to normal. We're dragon riders now. We smell different. Our friends treat us differently. Ulf went back to the pub and things were a bit weird.
I love how Ulf says, come on, girl, to Silverwing, one of the greatest, biggest weapons and organisms in this world.
The sworn, soul-bonded beast of Queen Alicent.
I love...
And he whistles at her like a Rottweiler.
Yeah. Well, I love how every, dragon rider's relationship with their dragon is different.
It's proprietary, yeah.
Yeah. So this scene begins with Alicent standing in the room that used to be her husband Viserys' room, but which is now the room of Rhaenyra, the woman who she has made a war with. And Alicent's staring at a skull. And I think Alicent is thinking, why is there a skull in this room? I think that the skull is the skull of the goat herd that Damon killed, and the head that he presented to Rhaenyra last episode, claiming it was Sheepstealer's rider. But you're telling me you think that it might be Viserys' skull?
I think it's like, who cares about that? I mean, I guess Rhaenyra would want to keep that skull for her own personal uses.
Well, because the skull and the head represents Rhaenyra's unfulfilled desire for vengeance for the death of Jace. But also, like, if it is Viserys' skull, it can represent, you know, her daddy and how she wants to please him by being a good queen.
Yeah, later in this scene, when Rhaenyra and Alicent are confronting the things that are between them, they are standing either side of this skull, which leads me to think that it is Viserys' skull.
Viserys is very much
that Viserys is between them. Yes.
Yeah. I think it's the goat herd's skull, and I just love how the scene starts with Alicent going, "Huh? Why does Rhaenyra have this skull in her room? What's going on?"
I much prefer thinking that it's even like it's perhaps unlikely thinking that it's Viserys' skull and that she is regarding the skull of her dead husband.
Because the teeth are smashed up, like the goat herd's skull.
Well, the teeth are missing, like Viserys had missing teeth.
But it wasn't the front teeth, the front middle teeth. The goat herd had missing front middle teeth. So I think that's the dead goat herd.
What do we do with the missing goat herd?
Yeah, so, like, Alicent is bewildered by the skull, but, like, it's not even in the top 10 of her list of priorities to talk about right now.
It's Alicent versus Rhaenyra, and Alicent is wearing her bluest dress yet.
It's her most Alicent-y of all her Alicent dresses. I really like this scene because Rhaenyra and Alicent are arguing and enemies on the one hand, but they also understand each other and are on the same page. All of Alicent's concerns about, like, yeah, I tried to escape, but you would have tried to escape in the same position. And, like, Rhaenyra's like, yeah, well, I gotta confine you, and you would do the same in your position.
Yeah. And I guess I would, but fuck you, and I guess I would, but fuck you.
Rhaenyra's like, well, you know, I can't send you away, because of course I can't, because of this and this. And, like, oh, we're worried about Helena being pregnant, because it's a political challenge, and so you'll have to confine them. Like,
we're all on the same page about what Helena is, and what we need to do with her, but it sucks, and, like, yeah.
So it's fun, because, like, they totally understand each other, and neither of them want Helena to suffer, neither of them want each other to suffer, but because of their different status and circumstances and alignment, that they are forced to be enemies. And so it comes to a head when Alicent says, well, who am I to you? Or, like, whatever the line is. And it's like asking, like, do you really see me as an enemy deep down? Or do you see me as a friend? Or someone who was once a friend, who could still be a friend?
Yeah, Rhaenyra says, my court sees you as an enemy because you're a Hightower. And Alicent says, but do you see me as an enemy? Do you see me as your best friend? Do you see me as a lover? What do you see me as? And Rhaenyra refuses to answer because I think it's too painful, right?
Yeah.
The scene ends quite funnily with Rhaenyra leaving Alicent in her chambers.
Yeah, it's true.
Alicent's opening line here, you would have done the same, prompts me to consider everything they say about other people in this scene as being about themselves. Later on, Alicent says she is fragile, you cannot confine her. Rhaenyra replies, I didn't and now I must. Because Rhaenyra was not confined, and then she was when she acted out by going through that tunnel of sexual freedom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, Alicent and Helena are now in the position that Rhaenyra was when she was a kid trying to escape this castle.
Yes.
There's a role reversal happening. I mean, that's what's so fun. Like, Rhaenyra used to be the rebellious one, and Alicent was the rule follower, and now the exact opposite is the case.
Yeah, Rhaenyra is now playing Viserys just after Alicent took Rhaenyra to try at their own freedom through that same tunnel. Awesome, awesome stuff.
Yeah, well, that's something that they set up earlier, is that Rhaenyra cares about Helena and understands that Helena is innocent and sensitive. So, like, that was established in prior seasons. So, Helena makes sense as someone for them to both be concerned about. So, Alicent reveals to Rhaenyra that Helena is pregnant. And they talk about how this child might be used as a hostage to draw out Aemond and Ormond, which doesn't quite make sense to me, because Ormond and Aemond don't seem to care that Alicent and Helena are currently hostages of Rhaenyra. Yeah, why would they care more if there's an infant in the mix?
Because it would be a male infant.
Well, it might be a male infant.
Well, that's what Alicent saying, if it is a male infant, then those things might happen. The only person out there who actually cares that Alicent is being held hostage by Rhaenyra is Gwaine. And I suppose Darren expresses some interest as well.
I just love that Rhaenyra's not having any of it. Like when
Alicent,
like,
you were discovered by guards, Alicent. I have to do something.
Yeah, exactly. I love her exasperation. It's like, look, like Alicent, like I do want to be nice to you, but you were in my walls. You were scrabbling around my walls with a cat. So no, I can't let you go to the park.
Alicent, that cat could have died.
Alicent says, Helena's innocent, so don't make Helena suffer. Make me suffer, because I'm just doing this to save Helena and to save Helena's child and to save Jaehaera. But later, Helena is like, are you doing this for me or are you doing this for you? Because, because that's Helena and Alicent's big argument right now, is that Alicent lied twice, saying that she would also free Helena's daughter, Jaehaera. But Alicent didn't intend to do that. And it's like, if Alicent really cares about Helena, if Alicent really is doing this for Helena, then she should have respected Helena's desire and need to be with her daughter Jaehaera.
No, you have to be free. I'm forcing freedom upon you.
Yeah, but it's Alicent's conception of freedom, and Alicent's conception of freedom is being away from her children. Well, I mean, that's Alicent's whole thing this season, is that Alicent is willing to let her children die, or her sons at least, and to, abandon them all. And, like, no one else sees it that way. Aemond and Aegon are afraid and upset and angry that their mother is abandoning them.
This series is about power, and Alicent wants power over herself, and her way of doing that is, pursuing her own freedom. That's the way she sees that.
And she's engineered the deaths of her sons Aegon and Aemond and possibly Darren. But, it's a tragedy. Like, I mean, this isn't a complaint. Like, this is a prediction. This is Alicent will get what she wants and she'll hate it. Well, just like Rhaena got what she wants and she hates it.
Just like every single
character. And like Ulf got what he wants and he hates it. And Hugh got what he wants and he hates it. Just like Rhaenyra got the throne and she hates it.
Daemon watched Otto Hightower die. He watched his wife kill Otto Hightower. That's Daemon's best. Like, he's dreamed about that so many times.
That was his number one sexual fantasy for the past 20 years. And now it's happened and he's like, well, now what?
Now my friends are dying. Aww.
I think that one of the only people who might actually be capable of contentedness and happiness in this story is Helena. Yeah. I think if Helena did get her chickens,
she'd be pretty happy.
I think she would be quite happy.
The thing is, being a subsistence farmer in a pre-modern society probably isn't the best existence you could imagine, but it's what she seems to want. And that's what's important. They do talk about Helena as though they are the parents of a child with special needs.
Yeah, that's true. Rhaenyra and Alicent are Helena's two mums.
Yeah. Well, at the end of this episode, Rhaenyra says, I'm Helena's mum now. You go off and kill Aemond, and then maybe when you come back, we can be mums together.
No matter what the outcome is of all of this, like, if anyone survives this story, it's gonna be a story of compromise and awkward relationships, and no one's gonna get quite what they want, and everyone's going to be aggrieved with each other.
Well, that scans with every other ending George actually has managed to do.
Yeah, I just like that of all of the enemies in this show, I feel like Rhaenyra and Alicent are special because they just fundamentally understand each other. And that's kind of what the tragedy is. That they've had, like, experiences. They are family.
Swift, they're in love with each other.
You keep saying that.
You keep not saying it, as though it's not like text in the show.
I think that they were great friends, but I think that they are different people now, with different priorities.
I think that the person you become when you get older still is informed by the person you were when you were younger, and that, like, the things that person cared about are still important deep down.
I think they were in love. I don't think they are anymore.
I think Alicent might still be. And I think she's trying to get that back from Rhaenyra. Alicent went camping once last season and is like, oh my god, I'm gay. Rhaenyra has become queen of the Seven Kingdoms. She passed Mysaria last season and is like, might be bisexual. Don't have time to think about that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think there's a strong sense that, like, Rhaenyra and Daemon and Mysaria all kind of want to have a messy, angry threesome, but none of them have the time or emotional energy to, like, think that. And like, Alicent has spent all these days stuck in the Godswood, just thinking about her feelings because she literally has nothing else that she can do. So yeah, I agree that like Alicent might be having those feelings and be trying to connect with them, but like Rhaenyra like literally says when Alicent is appealing to her, Rhaenyra says like, "Don't test me, don't try me." What does she say?
Well, yeah, don't try me again, and that's because it gets at something. She reacts like that because Alicent is digging at something there.
Yeah, because Rhaenyra doesn't say...
It's real, and it's a wound, and she touches it, and it hurts.
Yeah, because Rhaenyra doesn't say you're wrong. Rhaenyra doesn't say there is no friendship.
It's sort of like a how dare you invoke that. Good scene.
A lot of the Alicent Rhaenyra scenes have frustrated me in the past, but like this one felt very sort of grounded in the practical. They are sympathetic to each other and they want each other to succeed, but
they're just on opposite sides.
They're on opposite sides. So
I think that's why Alicent wants to appeal to Rhaenyra as her old friend, because that's the one way on which they're aligned, on which they can be aligned. They're rival factions in a war. Before that, they're best friends. That's how they can agree.
I think that one of the great strengths of this show, and of this season in particular, is that Rhaenyra does occasionally do wild shit, but it always makes sense. And I think it's got a lot to do with Season 3, Episode 3 putting us in her head.
Yeah.
Like, we really get it when she acts with desperation or lashes out. Because we know how much pressure is on her. We know how much she's lost. We know how many different problems are competing for her attention. We know how many different people are telling her different advice.
Just the fact that there's no fucking money.
Yeah.
Like, just makes every crazy decision she makes somewhat plausible. So, very briefly, we get a Mysaria moment where Rhaenyra tells Mysaria that, oh my god, did you know Helena's pregnant? Alicent just told me Helena's pregnant. You didn't know this, right? And Mysaria's like, no, I didn't know that. Wow. And Rhaenyra's like, no, you didn't know that. Yeah. And then Mysaria tells this guard after Rhaenyra's left, can you kill that maid for me? She knows that I knew Helena was pregnant. You need to kill her.
Well, I think that Mysaria is getting that maid because that maid helped with Alicent's escape, yes.
Right.
So, like, the problem is that maid is disloyal, but I don't know if that maid knows that Mysaria knew about Helena's pregnancy.
Okay. And yeah, containing Alicent's avenues for escaping in the future, I suppose.
Yeah.
The maid was disloyal, I guess, to Rhaenyra.
Something I love about this scene is that Mysaria doesn't say what will happen to this maid. She doesn't say kill her. She just says, let me know when it's done.
Yeah.
Mysaria is usually more sympathetic because she literally, like, wants to feed the poor is her, like, primary motivation.
But here she is with her hair braided up and she's wearing jewelry in every place she can and she's wearing a beautiful white gown. And she's telling a guard to kill a maid. A maid who is desperate enough to, like, accept a necklace from the Queen Dowager.
Yeah, which, like, God knows, like, that maid might have been trying to feed her family. Like, that maid, like, King's Landing is in economic strife. That maid might have had to have accepted that.
That maid might have been trying to help someone.
Yeah.
Alicent Hightower and Helena Targaryen escape from confinement.
Yeah.
Like, Mysaria of the past might have seen that and thought, that's a good person. But now Mysaria is having that person killed.
So the question is, who is Mysaria becoming?
Yeah.
Is she becoming Lara Strong? Is she becoming someone who must kill to protect her own power and her own lies?
Well, yeah, she literally just lied to the Queen. And if that ever is uncovered, Mysaria is done for, right? But Mysaria is scared of Rhaenyra because of that, like, chat she had with Alicent. Like, is she going to bet her life on a dragon rider's whims?
Yeah, well, yeah, maybe that's what Mysaria is
thinking. This is Mysaria reacting to the conversation she had with Alicent, which was such a great scene because it was, like, Alicent actually being a smart politician again.
I agree. Yeah, no, I agree. I just keep thinking that Damon is right about one thing, which is that Rhaenyra's legitimacy comes largely from the fact that she's the Dragon Queen of Dragons. She's got a lot of dragons.
Lizard.
She needs to use her dragons as symbols of her power because no one defies you when you have 6 dragons.
Rhaenyra, we have the most lizards. We win.
I'm enjoying Mazaria. Like this episode and last episode in particular, I'm enjoying Mazaria because I feel like Mazaria is being smart and competent, and she knows things, and she has secrets, and she's thinking carefully about what her loyalties are. And like we've got to ask, what would we do in Mazaria's position? I think we also would be a bit conflicted.
I also would have a girl murdered for helping Allison. Yeah, it's fun to see someone try to navigate a political web. Like that's the entire draw of Game of Thrones, right?
Well, just like every other character, Mazaria is getting what she always wanted, and it sucks.
Yeah.
Mazaria has always wanted to have political influence so that she can like have safety and security for herself and to help the poor. And now she has it, and it sucks, and that's fun.
It's all coming crumbling down for Daemon Targaryen.
Yeah, he had like his best day ever in season 3, episode 2, when he got to take King's Landing with dragons and kill Otto.
And his mate Luther was there.
Like, I believe that Matt Smith and Largent were good friends, and
true.
that it matters to them. And like, I believe that Matt Smith is heartbroken over it. It works. And so now there's a meeting in the cop shop, and Daemon tries to give a rousing speech about how they will get justice for all of the Gold Cloaks who have been killed.
Avenged if it takes 100 years.
Which is precisely the wrong thing to say.
Yeah, no, my children are hungry, like, right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100 years isn't going to cut it, mate.
So Daemon tries to say that we'll retake the city, but the Gold Cloaks resign. They quit. They hang up their cloaks. Daemon tries to give another rousing speech, but that trick don't work anymore. You know, like we saw him give a speech to the Gold Cloaks in season 1, episode 1. We saw him give a speech to the Gold Cloaks last episode. But like it just falls on deaf ears when people are hungry and afraid
and dying
for this long.
They're scared. They're dying. He's also, like, disgusted. How dare these men abandon their charge? I made these men from boys. I lifted the city out of squalor, and they do this to me.
Hey, Gladys, you'll never believe it.
What's that?
There's a scene with Corlys and his bastard son, Alan.
Whoa. What do they do in this scene?
Well, this is going to blow your mind. But Alan is angry that Corlys was not present as a father when he was growing up.
Okay, give me a moment to wrap my head around that one. What's Corlys doing in this scene?
Well, Corlys is mostly just looking uncomfortable with the emotions and not taking action.
Really don't know how to process this information.
We've never seen this before.
It's groundbreaking stuff.
It's groundbreaking. You know what is different though? This time they're not on the docks.
This time, Alan's wearing armor and Corlys is in pajamas.
And they're in the woods.
They're in the woods. So yeah, things are changing. Things are changing between them. Well, credit to Corlys where it's due. He does stop shoveling corpses when Alan starts talking to him.
He gets credit for that?
Yeah. No, Corlys gets credit for everything these days.
Jeez, the bar is low. I don't know. I feel like Corlys's character development has been glacial.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, it seemed for a moment like Corlys was gonna, like, grow up and, like, do something constructive.
And then he just did the exact same thing he's always done and fuck off to battle as soon as things don't go his way. Well, he did make Alan Hand of the Queen, but he did it in a really, like, destructive way while he was also fucking off to go do a battle.
Well, I don't even know if he did make Alan Hand of the Queen.
He made him acting Hand of the Queen.
He just said, oh, you go talk to Rhaenyra. I don't know. Like, he said it as, like, an afterthought while he was leaving. Yeah. Like, did Corlys even intend to do that with Alan? Or
that idea definitely occurred to him there and then.
You know why Ormond had to send Bolcut Roxton to kidnap Corlys instead of going himself?
Because they're surrounded by rotting corpses.
It's surrounded by stinky pirates.
Also, Ormond is actually pretty useless, it turns out, I think. Every line he says is wrong in some way. Right, so what happens in this scene is Alan's come out to wherever it is Corlys is doing his pirate cleanup duties.
Oh yeah, is there a plot in this scene?
Yeah, the plot does change a little bit in this scene. Alan said he does what he said that he would in the council scene. Those Valyrian men, we should bring them to the city to be the city watch while the city watch is busy being dead. And Corlys is like, does Rhaenyra want me to do this? I'm not doing it if Rhaenyra wants me to do it. And Alan says, I want you to do it, Dad. And he's like, oh, okay, we'll do it then. Like, he's taking commands from his bastard son more seriously than from the Dragon Queen. So I can't believe that Callers keeps saying things like, "Oh, I can't believe you're listening to Rhaenyra when she refuses to make you legitimate." And, like, why would he say that sort of thing? It's like he's setting Alan up to, like, own him.
Yeah.
Like, he always does this. He always sets himself up to take a massive L. It seems a bit clunky to me, honestly, that he does this.
It's like, how does Corlys not know that this is what on Alan's mind? He has said so, loudly and directly, that he's real upset with Corlys, and Corlys just never computes that.
Even though, like, they have processed this. We've had scenes where they do this, and he's still like, well, how long did it take you to acknowledge my legitimacy? And he's like, oh, yeah, shit. It's like, we've been here. We've done this. Corlys, you know this. You idiot.
I feel like they just haven't quite known what to do with Corlys.
Yeah, it does feel a little bit like they might be treading water to get somewhere at a specific point in time. Or maybe they're going nowhere, which would be the most disappointing outcome.
I think that Corlys getting abducted by Bolcart Roxton is the most interesting thing that's happened to Corlys in a long time.
Well, he did drown the other day.
Well, it didn't seem to change him or bother him.
I don't know. So the next episode after that, he was like, oh, man, well, maybe this whole high tide stuff was biting off a bit more than I could chew.
What if Corlys is afraid of the ocean now?
That'd be nice. Yeah, well, I suppose he is doing things on land for the first time ever right now.
He's a shark on land.
Yeah, that's true.
We haven't seen him on a boat since he fell in the water.
Also in this scene, Cola says, by the way, some pirates told me that Tywin Lannister is alive and he's gone to Rook's Rest.
That's so fucking weird. What the fuck are you talking about? If
I'm Alan, huh?
Yeah, what?
I thought I was here to get some men from you and it smells like corpses over here. And you're telling me that Tywin Lannister is like the most random thing you could have said.
Yeah, how did you get that information? Why do you think that information is important? Why are you telling me this now instead of messaging the queen?
Yeah, were you going to tell me this otherwise? Or is it because I one-upped you in a conversation? Is it because I just owned you?
Thailand, it's mentioned, has hired some mercenaries. And he fell in the gullet at the teeth. So maybe they were Triarchy people or people associated with Triarchy people. Because, where did he meet these sellswords?
The wonderful thing is, when we see Thailand in the next scene, these sellswords don't exist anymore.
Yeah, these hypothetical sellswords who we've never seen. Why weren't they digging the grave for Janos?
Oh, shit, yeah.
If Thailand had men working for him, why didn't they dig the grave?
Digging a 2-foot grave for Janos?
None of this makes any sense.
Oh no, it's 1 foot because Laris kicks him in. Whoa!
Yeah, look, it just seems like a series of very improbable events, doesn't it? Which again, there's a lot of that in every story, but the way that it's presented in this particular scene, it feels very much like the writers were just like, oh, well...
And Corlys knows that Tyland's going to Rook's Rest.
We need to put that in there somehow.
So,
future, I don't know, Corlys can say it.
In the future, we need Rhaenyra to know that Tyland was at Rook's Rest, so off we go then.
It just feels like the writers love some of these characters more than others. Everything that Rhaenyra and Alicent do is very carefully thought out and layered and meaningful. But the things that someone like Corlys does sometimes is just we needed someone to say this line.
Well, I guess of all the characters who could have known that, it does make the most sense for Corlys to be the one who knows it. They could have worked a bit harder to make it believable. Yeah, was Corlys going to tell Alan this? When was he going to send a raven back to King's Landing?
Well, this is exactly like when Corlys was leaving the Red Keep. And Alan's like, hey, where are you going? And Corlys is like, you're the Prime Minister now. What? So last episode, Aegon killed Janos, the arsehole guy who was in charge of Rook's Rest.
You may call me your grace.
And Larys told Aegon that he's a terrible man and a terrible king, and he's lazy, and he wasted all of his opportunities and privileges. And Aegon, for the first time in his life, listened and took it on board as... constructive criticism.
Oh, I never thought about it like that. I'm a piece of shit.
I am a useless dick brain. Aegon now has 2 different advisors. Larys is saying, let's go to Bravos. Tyland is saying, let's go to Castle Rock.
Let's go to my house where I can make you my king.
And both Laris and Tyland are possibly trying to use Aegon for their own political advantage. And so Aegon asks Tyland, am I a terrible person?
What do you think about me, Tyland?
And Tyland can't give him a straight answer.
He's a vacillating twit.
Tyland's answer is true, and it's not without meaning.
But Aegon doesn't value it. He asked a yes or no question.
Yeah.
And he got like a 40-second monologue about the nature of mankind.
Well, he wanted an answer, and he got a fortune cookie.
Yeah, he wants an advisor. He wants a father figure, and Tyland's a politician. Laris gave him a straight answer. So that's why he sides with Laris.
And certainly Tyland knows that Aegon is a terrible king.
Of course.
Terrible person.
He was there.
So yeah, Tyland should have said, well, yes, Aegon, you are a useless idiot and you are a terrible king. And if Tyland had said that, then Aegon might have been, well, okay, you are capable of speaking the truth to me.
Maybe we should go to Castle Rock. Yeah. But instead, there's one shot where you can see Aegon basically has Laris and Tyland on his shoulders as an angel and a devil, which is really funny because they both suck. If Tyland told Aegon that he had sex with Sharako Loha's 9 wives, or however many they are. Loha! She has as many wives as a cat has lives. Anyway, if Aegon knew that, he would think Tyland's the bee's knees. We're going to Castle Rock. I'm listening to this guy.
It's high fives all around.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like, we're going to Tyrosh. I want to beat your record. It's just very funny tonally because Laris and Tyland are focused on the problem of burying the corpse of Jados. But Aegon just out of nowhere is like, make an assessment of me as a human being.
Not only are they dealing with the physical problem of we've got to bury this guy that you killed, they're also dealing with the extraordinarily high-minded political problem of where we're going to go, where we're going to wait out this war, where we're going to make you king again. Yeah. And Aegon's like, do you think I'm good? Must be said, of course, this being an Aegon Laris Tyland scene, it is the funniest scene in the episode.
Yeah.
If not for several episodes. Tyland going, I'm digging a hole. It's so dramatic and flamboyant.
Yeah.
And then Laris deciding, I don't want to dig that hole. I'll just push him in with my foot. Very fun.
And Laris's just look of barely suppressed glee as Tyland is completely failing to answer Aegon's question.
The upshot is, now we're going to Maidenpool to sail to Braavos. Previously, Laris was like, Duskendale. We're going to go to Duskendale. There'll be a ship that'll take us to Braavos. And now he's saying, Maidenpool. There's going to be a cog from Maidenpool that we're going to use to get to Braavos. The difference there is that they won't have to go through the gullet, I guess.
I do really like this scene because it feels like Aegon, for the very first time, he's using both of his brain cells.
Yeah.
And he's using every ounce of, like, empathy and outside perspective of himself. For the very first time, he's thinking critically about his behavior and his emotions.
And he's making a decision. Previously, Laris was in charge of everything. Like, we have to leave now. We're going to Duskendale. And now it's, okay, I'm presented with a choice, and I choose to go with Laris.
Yeah, I agree. This is like the first time that he's tried to make a wise, thoughtful decision.
Sort of in his entire life.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Rhaena.
Rhaena Targaryen is living in a cave.
We've all been there.
We have all been there, eating blackberries, hiding amongst the rocks.
I quite like those shots where she's just yum, 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 yum.
Yeah, she's had a lot of time to just sit and think. How long do you think you can survive on burnt mutton and blackberries?
I think that's like almost a complete diet.
If you had to pick 2 foods, I reckon mutton and blackberries are decent choices.
Dragon roasted mutton.
Could be worse.
I suppose so. This is what David Bowie lived off when he made those albums in Berlin.
Is that right?
Yeah. It's actually much, much worse than that. Don't look into it. There's that one shot just after Rhaena's heard the dragons and is looking out to them. It reminds me very much, I'm sure this is intentional, of that romantic painting, The Wanderer, where she's looking out over the cliffs. And it reminds me of Alicent looking out over the cliffs in the Season 2, Episode 8 finale. Like, Rhaena's also dreaming of her freedom and of connection to others.
She is, and I think in a way she's also facing the prospect of oblivion.
Yeah. So Rhaena sees her sister and thinks, her sister's dragon, and thinks, yeah, I'd like to hang out with my sister. That sounds cool. I only need to look upon her face. She's lonely and lost. It's interesting that Rhaena, basically told her dad to fuck off. And after however long she's been alone here, she needs to see Baylor.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I very much believe this as, teenager behavior, storming off and saying, fuck you all, I don't need you anymore, I'm gonna live alone for the rest of my life, and then, 1 week later going, oh, actually, I would quite like to rejoin civilization.
Yeah, so the next time we see Rhaena, she's been brought to the Eyrie, the High Hall at the Eyrie, where Jane Arryn is throwing someone through the moon door just to test if gravity still works. My assumption was that Rhaena was going to Iron Oaks to see if Baylor was there, right? So I thought that they caught her around the town rather than at her cave. But then the question of Sheepstealer is still there. Where is Sheepstealer in this scene?
Yeah, why has Sheepstealer allowed the Arryns to capture Rhaena like this?
Yeah, I think that's strange and required explanation. The mechanics of this scene are a bit flipsy-flopsy.
Yeah,
but the emotions of it are real.
Look, I do enjoy this, sort of villainous vibe that Jane has. She's standing here in a magnificent outfit, just enjoying watching people fall to their death. She's got, in the background, you can see a maid holding a plate of lemon cakes or something. Apparently she's got a full-time lemon cake person who's just providing snacks at all times. And Jane's, hitting dragon riders and threatening them. And I don't know, just the confidence and the villainy and the vibe of it is fun.
She's very fun. I am loving Amanda Collin, Jane Arryn, and her ridiculous cape and neck. I think they're setting up, perhaps in the future, Jane Arryn's going to push Rhaena out of the moon door and Sheepstealer's going to save her.
Yeah, well, I thought that might happen this episode.
I think they're just setting it up. I think they're rule of threeing the moon door.
Yeah. No, I hope that you're right. Yeah, they showed us that the moon door exists. Then they showed us someone falling down the moon door. So next episode, Jane can push Rhaena out and she can be saved by Sheepstealer.
It might even be a finale thing.
Yeah. Why not? Why would you not do that?
Well, because...
It would be cool.
Because it's is this really the direction that we needed Rhaena's arc to go? What is she doing futzing around in the Eyrie?
It would be cool.
It would be cool. We can all agree on that. And then Caraxes sticks his little neck through up Periscope. We've talked about it before. I like that what's pushed Rhaena to do something silly here is, her striving for a connection with her sister.
Well, it's so interesting, Rhaena has just gotten a dragon, this enormous power, and some new dragon riders become very confident, like Aemond. Aemond got a dragon, and Aemond was like, well, I'm invincible now, I'm gonna start a fight against 5 children. Rhaena's reaction is very different, because the dragon disobeyed her and she's guilty for Jace, she's so ashamed. She's ashamed of her dragon almost.
She's ashamed and frightened to be wielding power like Rhaenyra, right?
Yeah. So yeah, it's an interesting different twist on what it is to be a dragon rider.
You know how in the Rhaenyra Alicent scene we were talking about how they both understand each other even though they're on completely opposing sides of pretty much every issue? I think the same thing is going to be true of Rhaena and Rhaenyra, because I think, well, maybe they won't understand each other, but they're going through the same thing, right? Of acquiring power and not knowing how to wield it.
Yeah, the show's about what it means to have power and all the different ways that you can react to power and handle power. And Rhaena's reaction of, I have dragon power, and ooh, I hate it.
Yeah.
That's fun and interesting and different.
I sort of dislike how blatantly Rhaena says her story out loud. She just says the words of the show has done well to tell the story. She says, all my life I have yearned after a dragon, and now I have one, but I've lost everything else. It's the show did well to communicate that, but now the character is saying it out loud with normal words from her mouth, and that's boring to me.
I think this could be just a story about Rhaena figuring out how she wants to wield her power, if at all. I think it just fundamentally what's fun and crazy about this scene is that it's a woman who has no dragon hitting and threatening and belittling a woman who has a dragon.
Well, it's because Jane knows how to wield her power, right?
Yeah.
I suppose that's the point.
So now that Sheepstealer has flown over Iron Oaks...
Word's getting out.
I mean, the people of the Vale already know that Sheepstealer exists, or at least some people do.
But now this might be the first sighting of Sheepstealer since Daemon told Rhaenyra that he killed Sheepstealer's rider.
Yeah, well, yeah, it does make us think, will word of this reach Rhaenyra, and then Rhaenyra's going to go, Daemon, Sheepstealer's a problem. And that's the thing, like, from Rhaenyra's perspective, if some random unknown person claimed Sheepstealer, then another random unknown person could claim Sheepstealer. So, like, I think that from Rhaenyra's perspective, it is an urgent task right now to send someone to claim Sheepstealer, or to kill Sheepstealer. And Daemon's sitting there going, Gully.
Yes,
Don't kill my daughter.
That's going to come to a head. Like, that's where the story is pointing. Rhaenyra's going to find out that Rhaena is right. Like, I still think it's ludicrous that Rhaenyra doesn't know that Rhaena isn't in Pentos with her sons.
Yeah.
That's insane to me.
Yeah, but because, like, they've established that no one cares about Rhaena, but Rhaenyra should care about her children, Aegon and Viserys.
Yeah, Daemon found out that his sons are in Pentos with no family member looking out for them.
Yeah.
And his response to that was to go home with a skull and, like, send someone to deal with that, Daemon. Like, he supposedly cares about his sons. Like, that was the sticking point for him at the start of that scene.
Yeah.
Why isn't he doing something about that?
Yeah.
I suppose, like, what's going on in King's Landing is that those few people are dealing with too many things. But I think that Rhaenyra's 2 out of 3 remaining sons should be of priority. At the end of this scene, Jane says to Rhaena, the next time you try me will be the last, which is pretty much what Rhaenyra says to Alicent this episode.
Yeah.
Don't try me.
Yeah, I think that, like, Jane and Rhaenyra have a similar energy this episode.
It would be very fun to see them interact.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's ever going to happen, though. Oh, right. Alice says to Aemond, you'll fall alone, and then the next scene begins with a guy being pushed out of the moon door.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, fine.
That's cute.
Cool.
So then we're at Harrenhal with Aemond Targaryen and Alice Rivers. And Alice has helped heal Aemond's wounds after he got stabbed by a gormless strong. And
Let he without Gorm stab the first prince. I'm just saying.
And Aemond helped protect Alice from some bandits. And Aemond is now saying that he'll go and find his dragon Vhagar, who has gone AWOL and burned Wendish Town.
Not Wendish Town.
And Alice says, no, you should not go and find your dragon because there's a bounty on your head. Rhaenyra wants you dead. You're safer here.
But helpfully for you, Rhaenyra thinks that you are Vhagar, so you should stay here where Vhagar isn't, because Vhagar doesn't like it here, it seems. Which is interesting. That comes up later. Oh, I just want to clarify something. Previously and in other videos, I've been talking about how, Vhagar wasn't there for the first burning of Harrenhal. So when she got to do it, when Aemond took Harrenhal this season, that was Vhagar finally getting in on the fun. But the embroidery from the credits actually shows Balerion and Vhagar burning Harrenhal.
Oh, 2 dragons.
Yeah, so in book canon, Vhagar was not present for the burning of Harrenhal. In Hot D canon, she was.
Interesting.
According to the tapestry in the credits.
Oh, that's an interesting change.
Yeah. So Vhagar does have a history with Harrenhal in House of the Dragon specifically.
Canonical burnination.
Yeah?
I really like Alice's tone here, where Aemond is like, I'm gonna go find my dragon. And Alice's tone is like, oh, you silly boy.
Yeah.
No, you shouldn't do that. You should stay with me. You should do as the frog does. You should hide beneath the ice.
Be a good little frog for me.
Yeah. I also just love these visuals. I mean, this shot is incredible. I mean, Ewan Mitchell and Gail Rankin have 2 of the best chins in the game.
Yeah, their profiles combined is sort of difficult to contend with.
Yeah, it is something to behold. And so I think the director has clearly chosen, let's highlight these magnificent chins by having them face each other in front of light. It just looks gorgeous.
I think most of the directors have recognized this in Ewan Mitchell at least, because how many of the shots have him like completely side on?
Yeah.
When was the last time you saw Aemond like completely like front forward?
Yeah.
It never happens.
Yeah, why would you do that?
The only reason to do that is to put the coin in front of his eye.
Yeah, I think that, like, Aemond as a character is like a director's dream, because there are so many fun, striking images that Ewan Mitchell as Aemond can do.
Throughout this episode, Alice keeps trying to be Aemon's mummy, right? And she says, "Oh, you silly boy, don't go off and find your dragon." And Aemon resists. Like, later on, he goes to the stables to get a horse to go and find Vhagar, and then she kills that stable boy to prove to him, "Oh, I can look out for you, and, I've got your interest in mind." He's like, why didn't you kill me for the bounty? And she's like, "Oh, I could have done all sorts of things to you, Aemon." And then when she shows him the dragon eggs and, like, "Oh, I can be your sexy mummy," then he starts to, like, fall for it, yeah?
And, like, I wonder to what extent it is, like, a manipulation or a
how much is it
performance
real?
versus sincerity. Because, like, it seems as though Alice, like, is grateful that Aemond, tried to protect her. But, like, we were speculating did Alice need her help?
I think Alice put herself in that situation to elicit Aemon's help. Because, like, Aemond says, "I've repaid your debt now."
Yeah.
Right? Like, Aemond has this warped transactional way of looking at relationships.
Yeah.
Like, I saved you, you saved me, now I can leave. And Alice uses that as leverage to keep him there.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, Aemond initially tries to avoid a genuine, emotionally close relationship. He's like, "This is just a transaction, and now I'm leaving."
He's scared of his emotions. Fancy that.
Yeah, but like, I think the interesting question is, like, Alice later reveals these dragon eggs and, like, invites Aemond to become her cursed, magical, outcast villain, dragon witch power couple.
Turn our backs on the gods. I'll be lady of the water. You'll be my dragon prince. What the hell is going on here? We're talking about Rhaena, which I love, but what the hell?
Yeah, it's sick as all hell. And an interesting question is, well, why does Alice propose this to Aemond but does not propose this to Daemon? Does Alice see Aemond as easier to manipulate? Or does Alice have some genuine affection for Aemond, or does Alice just see potential in Aemond?
I think it's possible that Alice's motivations have changed because of how Daemon left her. Alice is Harrenhal, so Daemon basically said, "You can't have yourself. I am denying you access to yourself." It's like, every other woman's story in this show, yeah?
Yeah, like, if Alice is the ghost of Harrenhal, then Harrenhal is her body.
Yes.
And this whole show, and lately especially, has been about women's freedom and control and agency over their bodies.
So Daemon, without even thinking about it, Daemon denied Alice bodily autonomy. Grim stuff.
I mean, like, what is Alice's plan? Because I feel like Alice deliberately sent Vhagar away. Like, like Vhagar is Aemon's dragon mummy, and so Alice sent away the dragon mummy so that she could be the new mummy.
Yeah, Vhagar is Aemon's ego, and Alice needed Aemon to not have an ego so that she could manipulate him, right?
Yeah, Aemon's vulnerability, lacking his dragon, is, I think, what makes him open to this connection with Alice. And so I guess my question is, like, when Vhagar comes back, how will Aemond react, and what will the dynamic be between Aemond and Alice? Will Aemond be like, "Well, I don't need Alice anymore because I've got my dragon now,
well,
bye"?
I think this is probably why they added the detail, they changed the canon to include Vhagar in the burning of Harrenhal. So that Alice has a history with Vhagar.
Yeah, it makes Vhagar a enemy of Alice.
Alice says, perhaps Vhagar shuns Harrenhal, maybe she left to protect you. And Aemon it's so fun how they're speculating on a lizard's motivations. Because Aemon's like, "Oh, she wouldn't have left me willingly." And Alice is like, "Oh, maybe she's trying to protect you." It's so fun.
Yeah, well, it's great questions. Like, to what extent can a dragon make decisions like that independently? It is ambiguous.
And if we think about Vhagar as Aemon's mummy, then mummy left you to protect you is what Alice is telling Aemond.
Ooh,
I know, yeah.
Which is what Alicent did.
Yeah.
In this episode, Helena makes a embroidery of Aemond curled up in, like, a womb inside Harrenhal, and this shot is very womb-like. They seem to be deep inside the castle, and there's this warm light with the two of them together, where Aemond is ensconced and is healing. It is womb-like, I think.
Oh, yeah. And Aemond has, in various scenes, been fetus-like.
Fetus-like.
Well, yeah, he's always in the fetal position, and he was drinking milk in the scene with Sylvie, right?
Yeah.
And that was also a womb, wasn't it? That room in the brothel.
Yeah, with, like, the warm candlelight.
Yeah, and it was a round room, and he was being held by a mother.
It is interesting that Alice refers to Rhaenyra as queen, and Aemond says she is no queen.
And Alice sort of like just moves on past that. She doesn't react.
Because that's the thing. Like in their conversation with the dragon eggs, Alice says that your sons will be princes,
not kings.
She doesn't say kings, and so I think that even though Alice seems to want some kind of alliance with Aemond, she sees Rhaenyra as the queen, and she does not see Aemond as king.
Yeah, no, she sees Rhaenyra's legitimacy.
And she certainly, I don't think, sees Aegon as any kind of ruler.
Yeah.
So, like, Alice is, like, on Team Rhaenyra, but is also working with Aemond. So I think that, like, you know, based on the logic of the magic in the books, Alice might want to exploit or sacrifice Aemond for magical purposes.
If you're doing stuff with King's blood and you're working with the God's wood and the Weirwood and you're in Harrenhal, then like having a prince on hand to just produce more King's blood by like having children with him, that's a pretty good pipeline. I hope you're all into awkward ship names because it's Baelallen time.
Baelallen?
Yeah.
Balin.
Nah. Baelallen.
Allah.
Halo 2.
Where is this location? We hear dragons roaring in the background. So is this near some kind of dragon parking garage?
Yeah, maybe.
Is this near the dragon pit?
Is this under the dragon pit? Are these the stairs that Rhaenys went down to get to Meleys in season 1, episode 9?
Oh, that's an interesting theory.
Yeah. You know, it makes sense that, like, Baela's come back from the Vale or wherever looking for Vhagar.
Yeah.
And she's just gotten off Moondancer and, like, she immediately needs to take a kip, so she's stopped here. Yeah,
that makes sense.
What Alan's doing here is, I suppose, just looking for Baela. So, Alan and Baela yap about, like, duty and weariness and looking out for other people, and Baela says, wouldn't it be cool if you, like, did what you wanted for the first... They also talk about dads. It's all about dads. They both talk about how boring their relationships with their dads have been, how stagnant and unchanging their storylines have been. Call that lampshading, I suppose.
And apparently talking about their dads gets them in the mood for making out.
Well, so I think that this is rushed. I think that we haven't seen enough between these two characters to really believe a romance blossoming between them. But I think they are working with everything they've set up so far, like to make this look like it's reasonable. They're doing the most they can.
Yeah, I like it because I don't read it as super romantic so much as like they're talking about how tired they are and how they have needs.
Well, yeah, I like how Baela sees herself in Alan because they're both talking about how they're attending to everyone else. All we've seen Baela do throughout the entire show is give other people pep talks, right?
Yeah.
And she sees herself in Alan because of that. And she says, wouldn't it be nice to do whatever the fuck you actually wanted to do with your life? And that's the first time anyone's ever said that to Alan. And he's like, oh, I should kiss you. And this is all after Adam told Baela, hey, what about adventure? Like, why are you so tied to the idea of becoming queen? Why are you cut up about that? When you, like, have you ever thought about what you actually want to do? It's the exact same themes that, like, every other fucking character in the show is going through.
Well, my question is, if it was Adam, not Alan, who came down the stairs and talked to Baela right now, would she have moved on him in the same way? I think she would have. Like, I feel like Baela's not necessarily, like, nursing some long-standing crush for Alan. I think she's more just like, you know, I need sleep and I need food, but also, like, I want to have sex.
Baela has noticed that there is no fun sex in this show anymore, that the only sexual activity happening is non-consensual and grim. And she's decided to make the show a little bit fun and lovely again.
Yeah, I like it. I like it because yes, like people are having sex for fun and pleasure and affection, and it's nice. But I think that like the tone of it, like it's not like a joyful tone. It's a very sort of tired, dark, gloomy thing. But it's like all those little. It's like all those little lights at the end of the previous episode, all those little
it's an ember in the fading dark.
Yeah, it's like, because, my read is that, like, right now, Baela and Alan's feelings are not some great fire of romance, but, like, there is something there. There is this tender little ember, and maybe it could grow into something. And it's kind of beautiful that it is a little quiet, tired, but, like, seeking, searching, sparking
right, so you're saying that
something.
No matter which half-uncle walked down those stairs, Baela would have tried it on.
That's my hypothesis.
That does need to be said. Like, lovely, good for both of you. Have you considered how related you are?
Yeah, so Alan is Baylor's half-uncle?
Half-uncle, yes.
Half-uncle. Yeah, I hope so. I hope that next episode, like, Alan and Baylor are walking around with a skip in their step and rosy cheeks, and they're like, yeah, like, life's worth living. Let's do some cool stuff.
I want Rhaenyra to look at Alan and be like, what's going on with you? What are you up to?
I mean, Alan has barely cracked a smile in this entire show. Like, wouldn't it be fun if Alan is all jolly next episode? Giddy. He's like whistling to himself and like sort of like, wouldn't that be fun? Like I think that would feel so good for these characters specifically because Alan especially has been so like flat and grim and brooding for this whole show.
We haven't even mentioned it yet. Ultimate vindication for all the Glidus heads in the fandom who have stridently believed for no reason that Alan is older than Adam. He finally says it in this episode.
Yeah, I've been wondering for a long time. Because
And I have been asserting baselessly for a long time that Alan is older.
I do like that Alan's feeling like, well, I just killed the evil pirate and like saved Corlys and like helped save the day. So I thought that Corlys would like acknowledge me now, but he still is really distant with me. You know, like, I mean, Corlys did say that he would acknowledge Alan, and he tries to get Alan legitimized. But, like, for Alan, it's not just about political legitimacy and status. Like, Alan also wants his father to love him and be close to him, and he's not getting that.
And, like, of course Baylor relates to that.
Yeah, I like this Alan-Baylor scene.
Okay, like, you framing it as not like a blossoming romance, but as two people, like, just expressing emotion as much as they can because they're tired and sad. That makes a lot more sense to me than...
I also like how, you know, Alan asks Baylor, will you please talk to Corlys for me? Can you please, like, convince Corlys to love me? And Baylor's like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, sorry. Because we have seen scenes where Baylor's telling Corlys to grow up, and we have seen scenes where...
in season 2, episode 5, Baylor said to Corlys, you need to make Alan your heir. That's basically the upshot of what that scene was.
Yeah, so like Baylor has tried, bless her. There's been a lot of talk about how tired Baylor is. I wonder if Baylor will make a mistake.
Ah, yes, that makes sense.
Do you think that Adam will be jealous that Alan has sex with Baylor?
I think it would make sense if that happened, yeah. I think Adam might be a bit preoccupied with Corlys being kidnapped by Johnny Roxton.
Well, yeah, how's Alan going to react to Corlys being kidnapped? Wouldn't it be funny?
Oh, God, Alan and Baylor are going to be involved in the result of that, aren't they? It's 2026, and we have gay Gwaine.
Gay Gwaine.
Gwaine. Maybe bisexual Gwaine, or maybe Ormond's just projecting.
Yeah, it'd be funny if Ormond was just completely wrong and Gwaine isn't gay.
Well, he's wrong about everything else.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. This is the episode of Ormond being incorrect about every single thing.
We did talk about this earlier, but something we didn't mention is that Ormond accuses Rhaenyra of being squeamish because she's a woman. Ormond later vomits at the sight of blood. I mean, he also went through an assassination attempt, which is sort of fair enough. But yeah, he vomits in a scene with blood.
But Gwaine Hightower arrives. He's left Kristen's army, left Kristen's death march, and has come to Ormond, and Ormond says he's a coward for not fighting a 1v200 battle. I mean, we just saw...
Yeah, for not dying pointlessly like Kristen.
Yeah, there's no way that Gwaine could have helped or survived that. Gwaine did the right thing to survive.
He bravely ran away.
And Ormond is comfortably sitting in his castle while Gwaine has been trudging through the mud and fighting and barely surviving. I really like how Ormond calls Darren Your Grace because he's king. And yet Darren is standing like a servant at Ormond's side.
He calls him sire.
He calls him sire.
Yeah.
Yeah, which like has the meaning of both meaning king and also meaning father. So like I love just like the controlling dynamic of that relationship.
Yeah, Gwaine says it'd be mad to continue fighting, and Ormond says, do you think I'm mad? Darren, do you think I'm mad? And you can see on Darren's face, don't fuck it up, don't fuck it up, don't fuck it up, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it. Of course you're not mad, sire.
I like Gwaine, just the way that Gwaine talks about the predicament that they're in. I like
There's a dragon on the hill over there.
Yeah.
Are you ridiculous?
Yeah, I love how Gwaine highlights how crazy Ormond is. thinking he can fight against the Dragon Queen who has 6 dragons. They sort of talk about how crazy Ormond is. But, like, at the same time, we are seeing that Ormond's murders of Goldcloaks in King's Landing is succeeding in driving Rhaenyra a little batty. So, like, Ormond is, like, crazy like a fox, Like, he's just crazy enough that it might work.
He doesn't smell like a fox, though.
No. So Ormond implies that Gwaine is gay, and Ormond sends Daeron to take him to his quarters and tells him to bathe. And then Ormond says, "Watch yourself, backs against the wall."
So is he insinuating that he thinks that Gwaine would molest his nephew?
Yeah, I think that's what he's insinuating.
That's just so fucked up.
Yeah, it's such a awful, loathsome thing to say. And it's so, like, it speaks to everything that Ormond is, which is someone who is disgusted by everyone who doesn't fit his, like, narrow definition of what's acceptable.
Which, as in most fascistic traditions, is nobody, not even himself.
Yeah, like, he really insists on ticking all the boxes of, like, sexist and homophobic and talking about the superiority of his race over the Targaryen race.
Yeah, so here he's accusing Gwaine of conspiring to incest, which is a Targaryen thing.
Right, yeah.
So Ormond is levying the Valyrian accusation against a member of his own house.
Yeah, it's just gross, and it, like, implies so much about, like, Ormond's treatment of Gwaine through the years.
Yeah, you can see Gwaine just, like, shaking his head as though, like, this is typical behavior of Ormond. Like, Ormond's cracking what he thinks is a hilarious joke as Gwaine leaves, but maybe he is like, "Oh, don't touch the king."
Yeah, well,
and Gwaine's like, "Of course he fucking said that. Fuck you. I hate you." And then we see, and we have been hinted at previously, that Gwaine and Daeron have a beautiful functional relationship and they miss each other so much and they are just pained that they can't be with each other more. And Daeron is aggrieved that Gwaine left him in the first place, and Gwaine's trying to make it up to him, trying to help. So they have this beautiful relationship, like what one would sort of expect between an uncle and a nephew. And Ormond thinks that Gwaine's going to molest Daeron. Like, that's how detached Ormond is from reality.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, Ormond doesn't have any healthy relationships, and so when he sees any kind of closeness or affection, he just reads it as something bad. I like how Daeron and Gwaine talk indirectly about Ormond's tantrums, and Daeron says, I try to stop Ormond from doing, and I like it because it sort of implies it invites us to imagine what kinds of bad stuff Ormond might have done in the past. Maybe Ormond has done much worse things than just cutting tables with a sword.
It was a very expensive table.
So I really like the way Daeron says that, like, I hate being under Ormond's control. Because, like, I thought that, well, maybe Daeron has, to some extent, internalized Ormond's control, and maybe Daeron really does kind of believe and is truly submissive to Ormond's goals and ideology. But, like, the way that Daeron speaks now, we learn that, Daeron really hates Ormond, and it really is a performance. Like, Daeron performs submission for survival.
He's a puppet.
Which just, makes it so much sadder. And I like the way that they've revealed that now. They've very slowly revealed Daeron's true self bit by bit.
I think that Daeron is just Alicent in a different setting. Like, they've just juggled some elements around of Alicent, and Ormond is his Otto. Later on, when Ormond is asked his opinion of Otto, he says, "Where to begin?" It feels like Ormond sees Otto as like a god. Daeron seeing Ormond as, he puppeteers me. He makes me a fool. He makes me a child. He's only using me to get power for himself. That's precisely how Alicent feels about Otto, right?
Yeah.
Daeron does have power unto himself, and I think that his story will be about realizing that. I say it too many times per podcast. It's what the other characters are going through as well. Like, how do you wield your power? Ormond says that Rhaenyra is an overweening word I will not say because it just makes it harder to edit for YouTube.
See you next Tuesday.
Indeed, but I just feel lame when I say it like that. Anyway, he says overweening of Rhaenyra, which is really interesting, like that he has opinions on how she has raised her children.
I think it's a bit of a different word to say, like, overweening.
To wean is to hold an opinion. So to overween is to be too forthcoming with your opinion, I suppose, and to be underweening would be to be like...
not assertive enough.
Yeah, like vacillating, like Thailand.
Yeah.
So is Ormond calling Rhaenyra like self-righteous then?
Yeah, he is. Although, but like, I think you're right that like the other meaning of the word ween is also a fun double meaning here
Yeah.
because like Ormond is sexist and looks down on Rhaenyra for being a woman, and so the idea of weaning is kind of relevant.
Yeah, the other word in that insult is relevant, I think.
So finally, Darren says, "Hey, Gwaine, did you see my mother, Alicent?" And we see how desperately Darren wants his mother. I mean, this season is about how Aegon and Aemond and Helena and Darren are all desperate for their mother, Alicent.
Aww.
And it's so sad.
And then it does the thing where we cut to Alicent, so that's nice.
Because right now, Alicent is trying to abandon all her sons.
Yippee.
So it's tough, and it sucks. I like this scene.
I really, really, really like... I thought of these as two different scenes, and I love both of them.
And I like how, Darren is asking Gwaine to help him and protect him, and Gwaine says, "I can't, I'm tired." And I think that comes partly from the fact that, yeah, he literally just has come from a horrific war campaign, and maybe if Gwaine wasn't so drained and traumatized and exhausted, maybe he would be more willing and able to help Darren. But I like how we really just see the exhaustion in Gwaine.
Yeah, he's just been on a death march, and he's over this, and dealing with Ormond, like, my god, wouldn't that be the last thing you'd want to do? Ormond says that the great houses of Westeros are going to join them, and Gwaine says, "Oh, are they?" I love how defeated Darren is, that like knowing that he will never be king, knowing that this is all for nothing, knowing that he's just being used up as a puppet by Ormond. What's this? My wacky weirdo daughter has drawn an interesting thing.
So Alicent and Helena are stuck in the Red Keep. They failed to escape last episode. And Helena is not eating and not talking to Alicent. She's upset. She's angry. She's not allowed to go to the Godswood anymore, which was her one joy in life, was observing bugs.
Just like how Rhaenyra denied Ulf the one joy in his life, going to the tavern.
Yeah.
Rhaenyra has now denied Helena the one joy in her life, going to see the bugs.
And Helena finally confronts Alicent by saying that Alicent lied about Helena's daughter Jaehaera. Alicent never intended to bring Jaehaera with them on their escape. And so Helena feels betrayed. And I think that this is kind of weaker because they already had this scene last episode.
So I think a lot of things in this episode are... It's the show saying loudly things that it had already successfully said quietly.
Yeah.
And that it works in some ways, and it just is a bit bothersome in other ways.
Yeah. It's a bit odd that we get two scenes of Helena telling Alicent that she lied about Jaehaera. Helena is doing some embroidery, and Helena starts to prick her finger with the needle in a sort of upsetting self-harm sort of thing.
The way that Alicent used to pick at her fingers when she was young. Well, she still does it, actually.
And Alicent stops Helena from hurting her fingers, just as Otto tried to stop Alicent from hurting her fingers.
Yeah, it's like a full-blown admission by the show that Alicent has become Otto.
Yeah. And Helena accuses Alicent of trying to escape for Alicent's own selfish reasons, just as Alicent saw that Otto was pushing Alicent into politics for his own selfish reasons. So Helena is embroidering, stitching something, and at first I thought it might be a funeral shroud for her unborn child, because in Season 2 we saw Helena stitching and embroidering a thing, which she then gives as a funeral shroud for her dead son Jaehaerys. But what it looks like is Harrenhal with Aemond at its center, into kind of a red shape that resembles a vulva.
Yeah.
This is what's called a yoni. And so it is Aemond in a womb, in Alice's womb, in Harrenhal's womb.
I'll also put forward that this might be a god's eye. It looks like the eye of Sauron, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's a god's eye. It's also a womb in Harrenhal. It's Aemond in a fetal position. It's all those things, and you see Alice up there in the corner.
Well, Helena also said that Aemond is burning without fire. And I suppose the red also looks a bit like fire.
He's sort of like in a lake of blood.
Yeah.
A lake of fire, which is a metaphor for hell in a lot of texts.
It's blood, it's fire, it's womb, it's all of those things. Well, I mean, Helena sort of changed Aemond's trajectory by telling Aemond that he will die at the God's Eye Lake. Well, did she say that?
Well, yeah, she said he would be swallowed up at the God's Eye, in the God's Eye. I like to think that Helena telling Aemond that he would die and be swallowed up in the god's eye was her reacting to the way Aemond treated her earlier in that episode.
Yeah.
Because earlier in that episode, Aemond grabbed Helena and said, we're off to war, you have to ride your dragon now. Yeah, so I think Helena keeps getting better and better. Like, she's saying things personally. She's telling us what she is. She's finally confronting her mother.
Having feelings, doing things.
Crazy. That's what we want out of characters, no? Alicent says, I was trying to save you. And then Helena says, are you trying to save me or are you trying to save yourself? And Alicent says, what difference does it make? Which is like, what?
Yeah, it makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, exactly. You're just telling Helena that it doesn't matter which one of us I was trained. Like, you don't matter. I'm doing this for me and it doesn't matter that you got swept up in it.
Well, that's like Otto, right? Like,
Exactly.
Otto's like, the ends justify the means. All that matters is the outcome. And that's how Alicent is talking, failing to acknowledge the feelings and the motivations that matter. Alicent is steamrolling Helena more than Otto ever steamrolled Alicent in some ways.
Yeah, true.
Because Alicent rarely directly rebelled against Otto.
And Alicent did do to Helena the exact same thing that Otto did to Alicent in making her Queen of the Seven Kingdoms, right?
Yeah.
And Helena in the previous episode, or is it this episode? Yeah, it's this episode, asks Alicent, did you think about other people? Did you think I might have wanted to marry someone else, maybe?
Yeah.
Did I have to marry my brother? Are you fucking serious?
Did we consider some possible husbands that weren't my brother? Helena makes the accusation that Alicent lied, and then Helena says, I see.
Yes, she sees. That's what Helena does.
Yeah.
She speaks true and she sees. And as though she's not going to immediately know that you're lying to her. What's the purpose of lying to a seer?
Yeah.
It's only going to make you look bad. It's not going to accomplish anything.
Alicent says that she wants to salvage her daughter Helena. So again, like the way Alicent speaks.
Previously, she said, you I may redeem.
Yeah. It's so fucked up that Alicent keeps on implying that Helena is like broken or useless or damaged and needs to be fixed.
It's by proxy. It's just projection, right? She's talking about herself. Aemond wants to be a horse, but he's rudely interrupted.
Unfortunate.
The stable boy comes in and says, one eye! Oh, if I kill you, I'll be Lord of Harrenhal. And then Alice kills him.
I feel like Alice should have ways of killing people more interesting than stabbing them in the torso.
True.
Like, shouldn't she, like, have a barn owl swoop out and peck out his eyes? Or shouldn't she have snakes slither out of her sleeves? Or...
Well, the thing is, we've never seen her actually do something magical.
That's true.
We saw her throw a rock and then bats appeared, and that's probably because bats don't like it when you bother the place they're sleeping.
That's true.
And we saw her disappear behind a wall when Simon was talking to Daemon, but maybe she just like moved. I don't know, man. Like there's a rational non-magical explanation for all of the crazy bullshit she's done. So like it's up in the air, I think, which is funny.
She brewed a potion that made Daemon have visions.
Well,
it might have just been PCP.
That's true.
I really like it. So like this stable boy sees Aemond, so Aemond and Alice have to kill him. And I love how they set this up earlier because Alice said that, oh, there's no one in this castle. There's just the boy who tends the horses.
And the blind old man who churns butter.
Man who churns the butter.
Are we going to have to kill a blind old man who churns butter?
Well, he's blind, Glidus.
Fuck.
You won't see Aemond.
Oh, true. They'll be fine. It'll be the three of them at the head of this new dragon empire. I think the stable boy is of appropriate Gorm levels.
Yeah, it's true. And, you know, I love Alice saying, oh, Aemond, I could have killed you. There are many things I could have done to you. Like, again, like Alice is all about implying and suggesting power. But I love how Alice is saying, yeah, I can do magical stuff that you can't imagine. And I'll teach you. You can learn. Let's be magical sorcerer pals.
Aemond says, what are you getting at? What is this game you're playing? And Alice says, it's yours to learn if your spirit is willing. Which I think there are a few situations throughout this show where that same question has been posed. What game is going on here? Oh, I can teach you, but you'll have to pay attention. It's like Alicent.
Would you like to know?
It's like Alicent learning politics from Otto, right? The game is yours to learn if your spirit is willing.
Yeah, well, sometimes the game of power is just implying that you have power and letting the other person imagine what that power could be. And their imagination is always going to be more persuasive than any actual specific heroic thing you could claim to be able to do.
Well, in that sense, Alice is like Mizaria and Laris.
Yeah.
Because Laris and Mizaria also have implied power, and the more we've looked at Laris and Mizaria, their implied power dissolves.
Yeah.
It's not real.
If Alice can hold and control Aemond, then the mere presence of his dragon blood and his dragons and these dragon eggs, if they hatch, like that could all theoretically make Alice a more powerful sorcerer. Because that's kind of the logic in this world, is that dragons can make magic stronger. Whether that's actually true is another question, but that's what some characters believe.
Yeah, and Alice has been holding on to these dragon eggs for decades, so maybe she's like, she didn't present them to Daemon. So she sees something in Aemond that she doesn't in Daemon.
Well, I think Daemon failed the test.
Yeah.
I think that, part of why she was interested in Daemon, in hindsight, we now know that, okay, like, she's interested in Dragon Lords because she wants to hatch these dragons, or she wants to hook up with a Dragon Lord and do cool Dragon Lord sorceries. Aemond has gotten to the second round of interviews where Daemon failed at the first post.
Yeah.
And I wonder how many other Targaryens Alice may have brought to Harrenhal over the years. When Alice reveals these dragon eggs, we assume that these are the eggs laid by Rhaena's dragon Dreamfire, who is now Helena's dragon Dreamfire. And so Aemond is like, oh, these are Dreamfire's eggs. These are Rhaena's dragon eggs. How exciting. How delightfully droll. What you need to know about Rhaena is that she was gay and depressed and iconic.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. This is why, like, for years I've been saying, my God, she would make such an awesome focal point for an adaptation.
Well, it's just so wild and cool that they are bringing up Rhaena in this show.
Although I am a little disappointed that Alice says these dragon eggs have been sitting here for 100 years, when Rhaena only died 60 years ago in book canon.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the implication here is that Alice knew Rhaena. I actually wrote down in my notes, so is Alice sort of Rhaena? Because Alice also is, like, extraordinarily aggrieved, and she appears to be depressed, lost. She hasn't been given her due. The question of whether a man or whether a woman can inherit the Iron Throne ahead of, like, on the same grounds as a man, that question began with Rhaena. Yeah. It wasn't a thing because Aegon the Conqueror only had 2 sons, but when Aenys had 5 children and the firstborn was 5 living children, and the first one, there was Aegon and then Rhaena. Was Rhaena older than Aegon?
I don't recall.
I don't remember. But anyway, Aegon dies, so that doesn't matter. And Rhaena is the oldest of Aenys' children who survives that. So it's like, well, why is Jaehaerys king? Because Rhaena's older. So that question begins with her. The question of whether a woman can have power in Targaryen Westeros begins with Rhaena.
Yeah, Rhaena was the queen who never was before Rhaenys was the queen who never was.
Yeah.
Before Rhaenyra was the queen who never was.
Well, Rhaenyra's now the queen who sort of is.
She's the queen who sort of is. Yes, that's true.
The way I squealed when Aemond said Dreamfire, when Alice said Rhaena, when all of these connections were finally made. It's brilliant.
And it also, like, is fun that, like, Aemond does know what these eggs are, and that Rhaena and that Dreamfire were here, because, yes, Aemond does know his histories, which is something he told us in Season 1, Episode 9.
He studied the histories. He studied the blade.
Like, do you think Aegon knows who the fuck Rhaena is?
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Aemond is the daemon. Like, Aemond also has a dragon spreadsheet.
Yeah.
It might be color-coded a bit different, but, each to their own. And Aemond is a Harrenhal nerd as well as a Targaryen nerd. Like, he's been obsessed with Harrenhal this entire time. He sleeps below a mural of Harrenhal in the Red Keep.
Yeah, true. Aemond says, I'm cursed for my sins. All I put my hand to withers beneath its touch.
There's a lot of flowery dialogue in this scene.
I like that acknowledgement that, Aemond really does feel like he's fucked up.
He feels aligned with Harrenhal. He's cursed.
Because he hasn't really said that before so much. Like, normally he's tried to sort of project confidence, but now it's like, he really does regret attacking Aegon and killing Luke. So the question is, what will Aemond become now? And Alice says that, well, you can be the Dragon Lord by my side, and I'll be the Lady of the Waters.
The Lady of the Water.
We'll be the cool, goth, outcast power couple. We'll be the witch and the lizard. We'll be unstoppable.
I think the key point there is let the gods turn their backs on us. We will be in defiance of the gods.
So what twisted sorceries will they use and to what end?
What do you make of Lady of the Water?
That's very strange, isn't it? I mean, the Lady of the Lake in Arthurian myth gives Excalibur to Arthur. I mean, I've been thinking, like, I mean, the lake is also a womb. Like, in the books, there's a Dothraki lake called the
Womb of the World.
Womb of the World.
Beneath the Mother of Mountains.
Yeah, so connecting to, like, Helena's embroidery and, like, the image of Aemond in a womb. Like, I think waters are, like, a source of life and birth. But it's interesting that, like, we think of Alice as being equivalent to the castle, but now she's saying she's the waters.
She's the lake. I have thought for a while that Alice isn't the castle, she's the land of the castle. She's the spirit of the God's Eye, basically, right?
She's the nature that's in and around, and
she's the Weirwood Grove. So the scene ends with Aemond and Alice juggling this egg together, and they're like, "Oh, it's warm." Ooh. And Alice says there is strength here in this ancient seat. And calling Harrenhal an ancient seat in the context of Westeros, like, Harrenhal is one of the youngest castles in Westeros.
True, yeah.
But I suppose if you're Alice, maybe you're not talking about Harrenhal itself as the seat, you're talking about the God's Eye as the seat, which is a much, much longer enduring seat of power, right?
Yeah,
because it's where the pact was signed thousands and thousands of years ago.
Yeah, this is where humans and the children of the forest signed a peace pact that the humans may or may not have broken.
So if you think about it like that, then the ancient seat Alice is talking about makes complete sense. Petitions, petitions, this is no condition to hear petitions.
I am on a mission, hearing with these petitions. It's no superstition.
These people, it's sedition. Anyway, so Rhaenyra's on the throne listening to people complain at her because that's what your job is when you're a monarch.
Yeah, this is the cool prize that you get when you win a war to become the ruler. You have to listen to people complain for the rest of your life until you die.
Hell yeah.
No, Rhaenyra's got some problems. There's no candles. Someone has kidnapped a girl from a mother house, which is like a nunnery where nuns live. And people are worried that there are no cops.
And she keeps deflecting, right? As for the tallow, she says, "Oh, but that's Torrhen's fault." And, "Oh, the child being kidnapped, I'll light a candle for that. I'll make the gods feel happy about that. Oh, don't worry, it's Ormond's fault that you all feel unsafe. It's fine, don't worry about it."
Yeah, when you're the government, if all you do is blame other people, you come across as a weak and ineffectual and useless government. And so Rhaenyra is not being a good queen today.
And the throne tells her that by cutting her.
So it's a belief in the realm that if the throne cuts you, it's a symbol that you are unsuited to rule. The gods are rejecting you. Your mandate from heaven is being withdrawn.
So after Rhaenyra gets cut, Godric the Mason, who says, wherever the fault lies, we have none to look to now but you. And Rhaenyra has none to look to but Viserys, the giant statue of her father in the throne room, which she finally looks at, which the show finally reminds us about.
And I think after the throne cuts Rhaenyra, and after she looks at the statue, she's like, "Oh shit, I have become my father. I need to get out of here.
I've become my father in the ways I didn't want to."
She's like, "Well, my reaction to this is, I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna leave." That's like just that she's just got to get the fuck out of here, so she does. In earlier episodes, Rhaenyra had to choose between feeding the poor and paying the cops. And now that she's not paying the cops, there aren't cops, and that turns out to be a problem. People are being kidnapped, and there's no gold cloaks to investigate or protect. And so I like how the camera lingers on Mysaria at this point, because Mysaria was the one who was advocating for underfunding the cops, and so now she's realizing, ew. We need an alternative. And I think that, bringing in the Valarians is not a terrible idea.
Yeah, but the people aren't going to hear that. They're just going to be like, "Oh, another force that's going to abandon us."
Yeah. I love the shot from above when Rhaenyra
so cool.
leaves the throne. It looks amazing. It looks like wings.
Of a dragon.
Ooh. It looks like a butterfly, actually.
Oh, yeah? Is that Helena's butterfly?
Yeah.
Rhaenyra is a bit overwhelmed and storms out and shuts the common people in the throne room.
Daemon goes for a walk.
He's not wearing his up-to-no-good hood. He's wearing his little helmet.
His little helmet. I
don't know, man. Is Daemon the only gold cloak now?
He is the police.
I am the cop.
Yeah, he wants to find out who's murdering the gold cloaks, so he dresses as a gold cloak. I mean, you gotta give it to him. It's brave.
He's putting himself on the ground floor, and he's rewarded for it. He gets to kill Hetero Man.
Hetero man.
Yeah, hetero man. The guy with homophobia.
I've always thought of myself as a homochromic individual.
I'm a bit acrobatic myself. I'm a bit heterocrobatic.
Oh my goodness.
Crobat. That's why they called him that.
There's something very funny about seeing Daemon in this outfit. It's fun because when Daemon wears his armor and his princely garb, it does not look like a costume. But this looks like a costume.
Well, it was like seeing Rhaenyra dressed as a fucking nun.
Yeah.
That looked like a costume.
This guy with the two different colored eyes who used to be a soldier on the walls of the Red Keep, but who is now out killing gold cloaks, tries to kill Daemon.
He fell for it. Hook, line, stinker.
And Daemon catches him and asks who's doing the murders.
He gives like an anonymous speech, doesn't he? He says, we are faceless and we will defeat you and we have no sigil. We work as many and we are one.
We are legion. Yeah, and the man also says that Daeron the Daring is the true king and he will come and he will take over and Rhaenyra will never win. So I find that really interesting because like there's different ways to interpret this.
Yeah.
Like the guy is saying like we are the people. The murderers, we are the people and we reject Rhaenyra.
And also Ormond Hightower is raising up Daeron Targaryen as king.
Yeah, so it's like, is this a popular movement of common people who are just choosing to reject Rhaenyra, or is this all a ploy by Ormond and Ormond is just paying for it? And it's all like just Ormond's design. Is this truly a grassroots movement, or is this a Ormond ploy?
Or is it both? Is it Ormond taking advantage of a real grassroots movement?
Here's the thing. Most of the people in King's Landing don't know that Daeron is around, don't know that Daeron wants to be king, or that Ormond wants Daeron to be king.
It makes you wonder in the petition scene when Rhaenyra says, this is the Hightower striking at me from Tumbleton. Are the people there like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. And yes, there are some Daeron gold coins floating about, but I think most of the people don't know Daeron Targaryen from a bar of soap, right? So like, I think that this guy...
Rhaenyra didn't.
I think
she was presented with a bar of soap and thought, yep, that's Daeron.
Yeah, and also what the fuck is Mysaria doing? Because if there really is a popular grassroots movement to reject Rhaenyra and murder the Gold Cloaks, how does Mysaria, the spy master, not know that? I think the answer is the guy's lying. I don't think there is a real big grassroots movement against Rhaenyra for Daeron. Yeah, I think it's bullshit. I think there's something going on here. Maybe this is just cope. And maybe it's the story that is bad. But my hope is that, like, because Ormond's whole thing is treachery, lies, smokescreen, manipulation. So I think...
And, like, hypocrisy.
Yeah, so I think that Ormond wants Rhaenyra to think that there is a big popular movement of common people who are out killing gold cloaks because they reject her. When in actual fact, I think the common people just want to, like, have bread to eat, you know?
That is true, but I also hope that some people are upset with the way that Rhaenyra is governing.
Well, yeah, we saw them in the petitioning room.
I don't want Rhaenyra's paranoia to actually be completely unfounded. I want there to be some basis in her fear.
Yeah, I think there absolutely are common people, increasingly, who hate Rhaenyra, but, like, the idea that a whole bunch of commoners want Daeron to take the throne...
Yeah, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
Yeah.
But why wouldn't they be behind Aegon or Aemond?
And yet, if it's all just a ploy by Ormond, like that heterochrome seemed willing to die for the cause of Daeron, which is like, what?
Yeah, all we know about this guy is he was a Hightower soldier on the walls of the Red Keep. So his loyalty personally to Ormond, that does make sense, being like a Hightower stooge, right?
Yeah. Well,
that's the only thing we know about him.
Is he doing it for money? Is he doing it for love of Ormond? Lovable Ormond Hightower? Yeah. I hope that there's shenanigans. I hope that there's Faceless Man or something involved. Because like there were lots of hints about Faceless Man. I didn't see his face, a common face, or the coins, the Iron Bank, Bravos.
Also, the
hints are there.
The wealthy folks of King's Landing, like, so very much need to be a part of this.
Yeah.
If they're not involved in this, I'm, like, scratching my head until my hair falls off, and none of us want that.
Well, no, we do not want that. Yeah, I think there will be a reveal that this idea of a popular movement is somehow manufactured by Ormond, by the rich.
I'm expecting this plot to be underwhelming.
Yeah, look, I mean, that's the alternative. Like, maybe it is just a weak source plot.
Like, I think even if there is a reveal, I don't see how it's going to happen where it's not clunky and weird. What I do like about this is that Ormond is, like, furious that Rhaenyra would stoop so low as to send assassins when, like, that's precisely what he's been doing this entire time.
Yeah.
I like that he's trying to... Yeah, that he's a scheming saboteur who's trying to infiltrate the city and undermine Rhaenyra from within her own walls.
Yeah, I think Ormond as a character is great. And I like this story of Rhaenyra stooping to his level. Rhaenyra sending treacherous assassins just as he did.
The war will make beasts of us all.
Yes.
You will do things you thought yourself incapable of, right?
Yes. And I also like the story of Daemon being affected by the gold cloaks falling apart. And I like Daemon putting himself at risk. Because, like, this is what Daemon has always done, like his suicide mission on the Stepstones in season 1. Like Daemon, for all his flaws, is willing to put his life on the line to get shit done.
Yeah, and his men respect that until it no longer makes sense for them to.
Yeah.
And they all resign en masse.
So, I think this scene is fine. I think...
It raises some questions.
I think it's a good story with Rhaenyra, Daemon, and Ormond. But I hope that, like, the specifics of who is doing these murders is answered in a way that feels more satisfying than it does now. Because it's been confusing from the start. Because, like, you know, Rhaenyra went on about it being something formless and sinister and supernatural. But then there was that guy with the beard.
Who's just a guy.
And he's just a guy. But then the show continues to talk about it as, like, this weird formless threat. And it's like, okay, so is it just a guy?
But, like, we know
is
that
it
it's
just
Ormond.
guys?
We know that it's Ormond.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly.
So, like, what else is it that makes those criteria work?
Well, yeah, exactly. Because, like, if there is a reveal that it's like, oh, it was the rich people in King's Landing who are doing it, well, it's like, yeah, we already know that it's Ormond. So maybe we find out about someone who's also involved. Like,
yeah. How can that be the satisfying reveal that it needs to be?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean when I say I think this is probably going to be underwhelming. I hope it's not, but I think it might be.
Yeah. No, I worry that you might be right.
Yeah, I think ultimately the problem is that the heterochrome guy says... He's saying things as though he's not working specifically for Ormond's cause, and then he also says that he's specifically working for Ormond's cause.
Yeah.
He says, we're the people of the Seven Kingdoms, we have no sigil,
Yeah.
and then also, I'm working for Ormond Hightower.
Yeah, what do you mean? Yeah, we have no sigil, but we're working for the Hightowers and Daeron Targaryen.
And the other day, he was wearing the Hightower sigil. This guy was wearing the Hightower sigil.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a confusing speech with mixed messages.
And the upshot of it is that the guy says to Daemon, you can kill us. And Daemon says, oh yeah, I can kill you. So he does. And now Daemon's murdering people in the streets.
There needs to be a question in order for us to get an answer of,
Right.
oh, it was the rich people, or oh, it was the faceless men, or oh, whatever. Like for me, I thought the question was, how is this happening in broad daylight with no witnesses? Like, that seemed to me like a question that needed to have an answer.
Yeah, and the answer was it's like a supernatural sort of thing.
Yeah, I thought that might be an answer. But in this episode, we see the way that the heterochrome kill gold cloaks, and it's just by pulling out a knife and going to an alleyway.
Yeah, that doesn't scan with the previous murders.
Yeah.
Was that guy going to gut Daemon and, like, pull his intestines out and leave him out in the open? That's ridiculous.
And that was going to happen in complete silence with nobody noticing in that alleyway? Like, is he expecting to have the half an hour required to silently butcher a gold cloak, pull out his intestines, cut his throat?
Yeah, and like that little knife.
And like they said, like Luther said, they die in agony. Do you think agonized men might scream?
Perhaps.
And draw witnesses?
Perhaps.
It just makes no fucking sense how these murders are happening. And that's why I want more of an explanation than what we're given.
We needed to see something that aligns with how the other murders worked.
We see a young girl witness this event and also appeared in the previous scene with the murdered gold cloaks.
Well, she's the girl who went to Mr. Heterochrome with the news that Luther and Daemon had seen those cloaks and they were killed.
So for me, I'm like thinking, is she a faceless man? Is she like a little bird? Is she a spy for Ormond? Is she... who's she?
Well, I think the implication of that girl seeing that is that Ormond knows there's tension between Daemon and Ulf now. I think that's what we're meant to get from that.
Yeah, no, you're right. But yeah, I like Daemon's rough treatment of Ulf, because like Ulf's request is so reasonable, but Damon is, he just murdered a guy who tried to murder him. He's just full of like rage and grief right now, and he lashes out at Ulf, which is what he has always done, which is lashing out at people.
His concern is real. That guy is going around murdering important people.
Then
we're a dragon down.
Rhaenyra loses one of the biggest dragons.
Yeah.
So like Damon is correct, but if he just practiced a little bit of empathy and compromise, then it would all be so much better. And like it's so sad how like Ulf tries to connect with Damon because like Ulf is like, well, a man needs his simple pleasures. You know that, Damon. So,
you
like,
yourself should understand. But Damon's like, how dare you compare yourself to me?
Yeah, but like it's sad because like Damon knows how to win the loyalty of men like Ulf. The same way Damon won the loyalty of those gold cloaks was by providing them with orgies and parties and stuff. If Damon provided that to Ulf, I think Ulf would be a lot happier.
Ulf just wants to be Damon's cool uncle.
Yeah.
Damon needs a cool uncle.
He does need a cool uncle, but he's too proud to accept a common bastard as an equal to him as a dragon rider. And as you say, like the spy girl seeing that tension gives Ormond reason to, it makes Ormond aware of this situation.
Yeah, Ormond has threads to pull.
And it's so sad that, like, Ulf is dropped in the mud, like, publicly by Damon. Like, all these people see Ulf being humiliated.
It's a humiliation.
And what does that do to Ulf's pride, Of course he's going to be furious about this. Ulf is a ridiculous character, but he's got his ego.
Of course. Then we get an itty-bitty little scene where Hugh beats a guy, presumably to unconscious deathness.
Yeah, see, Hugh is sympathetic because he's trying to save his wife, but he does just, beat and maybe murder an innocent man.
I mean, in another sympathetic show of extraordinary violence to another common man, in season 2, Hugh beat people up to get food for his dying daughter.
Yeah.
So this is not the first time we've seen him do something like this.
Hugh enters the city of Tumbleton disguised as the Cartman, who he disguised himself as.
Cartman.
And ahead of him we see the Baratheons, the false envoy that Rhaenyra sent to kill Ormond.
We also see out the front people digging trenches and assembling pikes, so it's like Ormond's readying the town for a battle or a siege. And also Hugh gets this little token, a little tumble token.
A tumble token.
Entry to the city, which presumably he needs to get out of the city or something like that. I don't know. I'm sure it'll come up later. I'm sure they're showing us that so that we remember it. So everyone make sure you remember it.
It's kind of weird how in very short, tiny shots we get a glimpse of the Baratheons. Like, blink and you miss them.
Yeah.
And we get a tiny little shot of the stone. Blink and you'll miss it.
Yeah, it's a short scene that has a lot going on. And even then, at the end of it, it's overlaid with Ormond talking about, his thoughts on the common man being of no interest or concern, but you must never trust one who's clawed his way to power, while the camera lingers on Hugh. So can we trust Hugh? It's the Ormond Hightower is wrong about everything hour. He's wrong about Corlys Velaryon. He's wrong about Rhaenyra Targaryen. He's wrong about Sir Arryn Baratheon. He's wrong about Gwaine. He's wrong about everything.
Well, I think that he makes one interesting point. He says that you can't trust common people who have gained power, because the only way common people gain power is by some great motivation, some intense desire for more.
They are fueled by some lack, some shame or lust or rage. But the thing is, I think Ormond is himself fueled by lack and shame and lust and rage.
Absolutely. But I think that, like, Ormond is making this point of, like, well, someone who was born rich and born powerful does not need to have the same ambition as someone who came from a lower class. And he's saying that, well, you can trust other rich people, you can trust other powerful people, because they don't need to strive. They don't have lack.
I think the only non-ambitious rich person we've seen in this show is Viserys Targaryen, and he would be an awful hand of the king. So yeah, here Ormond is telling us about Kristen and Hugh and Ulf and Mazaria and even etc.
But, you do get the sense that Ormond is monologuing and holding court just boring Darren and Gwaine to tears, and I'm sure they've had many, many, many dinners like this in Old Town while they were growing up, and it's extremely tedious and, as you say, very hypocritical.
And Gwaine is just so sick of this shit.
Yeah.
I love Gwaine so much.
And so Darren asks an interesting question, which is, well, what about Otto? What kind of person was Otto? And what was Ormond's relationship with Otto?
All we get from Ormond, though, is where do I begin? Which, I tell us. I want to know where you want to begin. I want to know what you think about Otto.
Yeah, well, Ormond is like the smugness of the person who thinks they've already won and thinks that he's at the top and he'll just enforce the status quo. And nothing should ever change and no one deserves to... Like, he says that the common man is of no consequence and should never be considered. But which is funny given what the heterochrome assassin said previously, which is, we are working for Ormond and we represent the people. And what? That doesn't compute.
And everything we've been told by Mazaria is like, you rule at the common people's pleasure. Let this be your anointing. You're a champion of the common people. So, like, who? Which one? Which one is it?
Yeah, it's all a bit confusing and contradictory ideologically. And, like, the point is that Ormond is a hypocrite and is wrong about stuff. But Ormond, is also effective in fucking with Rhaenyra.
It's the one thing he's been shown to be great at. You know what he's not great at?
What?
Smells.
No.
He's not good at smells. And I really do love that... This scene's so fun. So Rhaenyra sends these assassins dressed as Baratheons and she's covered them in dirt and shit.
It's very funny.
And the effect of that is to catch Ormond off his guard, which I don't even know if she needed to do that. I think Ormond is so self-important that he never would have thought. Like, he doesn't even regard... He doesn't think for a moment about who these people actually are, only that they're here to swear obeisance to him.
Well, here's what's really ridiculous, is that the Baratheons come and say, yes, we're here to swear obeisance to King Daeron Targaryen. So Ormond must have sent letters to the great lords of the realm saying, Daeron is the king now, come and support King Daeron. And the reaction of every lord in this world would be, What do you mean Daeron is king?
Aemond is alive.
Aemond is alive.
Yeah. And some of them probably think Aegon is still alive.
Yeah. So it's complete, like, the whole reason why people are fighting against Rhaenyra, or part of it, is because they believe that a man comes first. The eldest male inherits under the rules of primogeniture. Yeah, well, there are lots of reasons why Ormond would want Daeron to be king, and maybe Ormond's closest allies would support Daeron's claim as king. But why the fuck would Boros Baratheon support Daeron? Boros Baratheon's daughter is marrying Aemond. Doesn't Ormond think, this is weird? This is weird?
Well, no, he doesn't, because he's so self-absorbed that the idea that people are coming to bow down to him trumps everything else.
That's just what's tough to compute here, is like, is Ormond stupid?
Yes.
Or, well, if he's stupid, like, how does he so successfully...
Because he's cunning.
Which is exactly what he said the Targaryens are.
Yeah.
Gwaine saves the day because Gwaine recognizes that the guy who claims to be Aryan Baratheon...
is not hot.
Is not hot. So, like, Gwaine apparently has an encyclopedic knowledge of all the hot men in Westeros, which, based.
Me too.
And so he recognizes that it's not the real Baratheon guy and he's actually an assassin.
Gwaine also starts to twig when the guy says, I most regret presenting ourselves to you in this state. And Gwaine's like, hang on, these guys are covered in shit and stuff. Is this to throw Ormond off?
Yeah, it is fun to see Gwaine's brain moving 10 times faster than Ormond's brain.
I feel like Gwaine and Ormond are like parts of Otto divided. Like, Gwaine has Otto's, like, thinking, and Ormond has Otto's ambition.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, Gwaine has the humility and the political sense that Otto had, and Ormond doesn't. and Ormond is just the striving and the ambition.
So I said before that these fake Baratheon assassins were sent to kill Ormond, but it actually looks like they might have been sent to kill Daeron.
Oh, no, they're definitely here to kill... Well, Gwaine says they're here to kill both of them.
Yeah. Well, do we know?
Well, Rhaenyra said that she's most interested in dealing with Ormond.
Because, like, if they were there to kill Daeron, that means that Rhaenyra tried to assassinate her young half-brother.
Yeah.
She tried to assassinate a child with a false peace envoy. Like, this is almost as evil as Blood and Cheese trying to killing Jaehaerys.
Interesting.
I think you can make an argument that this is one of Rhaenyra's most evil acts.
Yeah, cool.
And I hope that we get a bit of unpacking of that next episode.
I'd hope that at some point Alicent or Helena hears about this.
Yeah.
And asks Rhaenyra, hey, what the fuck? This scene's also funny. It's a funny scene.
Yeah, it is funny.
It's a funny little assassination attempt.
I liked the choreography of the fight scene. I thought the violence was cool. Like, I'm like sometimes I find fight scenes boring, but this one I thought was, like, well done. I also liked the Kristen fight scene at the start.
Yeah.
I thought that was well choreographed as well.
Yeah, good choreography this time around.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, like, brutal and comedic at the same time. I also love the detail of when Ormond pukes. He pukes, like, into his own goblet.
Yeah, he's never drinking from that ever again.
It's also fun how, like, when the envoys come in, Ormond gets, like, all his titles. He's, the Lord of Hightower, Defender of the Citadel, Voice of Old Town. And then Ormond's like, oh, yeah, this kid is Daeron, he's the king.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, by the way, I have the king next to me.
Which just reinforces everything they've said about how Ormond is just using Daeron for his own power and pride.
So these assassins don't know that that's Daeron Targaryen standing over there, and I hope that this is more support of the idea that Daeron's natural hair color is blonde.
Yeah.
Because if they were probably expecting a blonde kid, and there's no blonde kid in this room, so they're like, so can we see the king now?
Yeah. It's like, you know how Rhaenyra wants to take Tumbleton without, getting people killed?
Yeah, without innocence being bloodshed.
But she's just, like, sent, like, a dozen men to die and to murder her own half-brother.
I need to know who these people are.
Like, just get Vermithor to drop a rock on the Footly Castle and kill Ormond. Come on. Let's use our brains here. I'm almost shocked that the Baratheons turned up at all.
Yeah. Baratheons.
In my Game of Thrones?
I mean, they've been talking about every region of Westeros this season, haven't they? Dawn mentioned, Iron Islands mentioned, the Roddy Dustin from the North's around, the Vale is around, the Riverlands are around, of course, the Reach and the Stormlands. Like, it's all important. It's all happening.
Yeah. No, yeah, it does really feel like a war that involves all of Westeros.
Yes, this season remembers that the world fucking exists.
Yeah, despite...
We're talking about Braavos, we're talking about Pentos, we're talking about Mir and Lys and Tyrosh.
Yeah, Game of Thrones in some ways at some times had a vast epic scope. But this show often has a more epic scope, even though this show also is far more intimate with its characters. We get much more layered, deep exploration of characters like Rhaenyra and Daemon than we ever got of any Game of Thrones characters, in my opinion. And yet this show also has a very grand, broad scope at times. So Hugh gets into Tumbleton. He wants to save his wife, Cat. He finds Cat, and she falls into his arms. She's reunited with her husband. And she talks about the horrors that she's experienced, escaping King's Landing, coming to Tumbleton. Her brother Leo is dead. She implies that she was assaulted on the road. We've seen Garrick try to sexually assault her. While Kat is trying to explain what she's been through, Hugh says,
I've claimed a dragon, wife.
Good news, love. I've got a lizard.
The Queen's going to give us a house on the hill.
Everything's going to be grand.
We're going to be rich.
And she's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, I don't know. This just like feels very like real, I think. Like the guy tries to conquer the world and get rich and achieve things.
To impress a woman.
And the partner's just like, I kind of just wish you were just like here with me instead of off doing that bullshit.
Yeah, I had to grieve our dead daughter alone and then walk 30 leagues to this other city where people have been assaulting me.
Yeah, I think sometimes people get stuck on some material goal when what's needed is emotional support. And so this relationship just feels very authentic to me, I think.
Yes, it's very real and very true to a George Martin character. The specific beats of "I did this for you, I never wanted that, you should come with me, what the fuck, no, who are you?"
Yeah.
Like, he's played those exact beats so many times. It's what Kristen and Rhaenyra do in season 1, episode 5.
Yeah.
It's what Alicent and Rhaenyra do in season 2, episode 8.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and like in the case of Kat and Hugh, like Kat and Hugh were in love. But when Hugh said, "Oh, I want to go claim a dragon," Kat said, "No, I need you.
Please don't do that. It would be nice if I still had you."
And in Hugh's head, like, getting a dragon is like an act of, he can provide for his family. And
this solves everything.
But yeah, it's for Kat, like, she just needed her husband, and he wasn't there when she needed him. And there's also, like with so many characters, it's like, well, did Hugh do this for Kat, or did Hugh want a dragon for himself?
Yeah.
Because like last season, that's kind of how it sounded. Like Hugh wanted to do it because he knew he was a Targaryen bastard, and he wanted to explore that side of himself. So it was at least partly a selfish choice to go and claim a dragon.
You smell different.
Yeah.
Like Kat saying that to her estranged husband. Like, imagine hearing that from the woman you love.
Yeah.
You smell different.
Yeah, I love it because, like, it works on many levels. Like, I mean, this show fundamentally is about how power changes you.
And, yeah.
And Hugh got the ultimate power, and so the ultimate power unavoidably changed him. And also, I just think it's fun how it connects to season 1, episode 1. One of the first lines in this show is Emma telling Rhaenyra,
"You reek of dragon.
Yeah.
Go take a shower, my god."
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, you don't realize how much you've changed until you go home again.
Well, yeah. It's Frodo. It's Ulf.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like when you go on a long journey and you come home, and home feels different.
Yeah, she says, "My brother just died." And he doesn't react at all.
Yeah, yeah.
Insane stuff.
Yeah,
so much of this episode is about people being tired and alone, and the only people who actually get anything out of it are Baela and Alan. Kat says, "I can't forsake my family," which is the sticking point for Hugh, I guess. Like, "Oh God, I forsook you, didn't I? Oh God.
I hate it when I forsake things."
Well, only when I didn't mean to. When I forsake things and I meant to, that's fine.
The only thing worse than forsaking is being forsook. So I guess the question is, what does Hugh do now? Because, like, Kat kind of rejects him. But Hugh still feels an obligation to protect his wife. So it's like, maybe with time, maybe they can talk. But, like, will they have time?
Well, what did Ormond just tell us about common men who come to power? They strive. They strive. They're driven by lust and power and rage. Maybe his desires can be exploited. Because people see this happen, right? I'm pretty sure Ormond is going to be aware of what happened here. I really like this scene.
Yeah, me too. We get a funny little scene with Gwaine and Ormond while Darren practices at swords in the yard at Tumbleton.
It's a fun little scene that reminds me of Game of Thrones because it's two characters talking at a window, looking out of the window, and there are things happening outside the window, and I feel like Game of Thrones did that a lot.
Yeah, I agree.
And in particular, this scene reminds me of a season 1, episode 3 scene, I think it is, where Jon Snow is fighting 3 men the way Darren is, and he's trouncing them the way that Jon Snow and Darren do.
Yeah.
While Jon Snow's daddies, Tyrion and Jaehaer and Aemon, discuss politics the way that Gwaine and Ormond are discussing politics, and they're Darren's daddies.
Yeah.
So that's
fun.
I agree. That's fun.
I think Gwaine comes across as a little bit petty here, because, like, Ormond is trying to extend an olive branch, and yes, he is insincere and evil, but it feels like this is an opportunity to maybe try and build a bridge with Ormond. But Gwaine is just kind of like, nah, you just sacrifice people and you don't care about Darren, fuck you.
I don't blame Gwaine at all for his attitude
I also don't blame Gwaine.
Like, Gwaine said, "Oh, I'm sorry I called you gay and, like, made fun of you and thought you were useless. I'm really tired because of the campaign." And, like, we've seen him. He's been sitting in baths and attacking tables with a sword. And, like, he's, like, what strains of the campaign, you twit?
It's true. And, like,
Gwaine has, like, just marched through the fens. There are people dropping like flies around him. He abandoned like his comrades at the darkest moment of their shared humanity. How fucking dare Ormond say, "Oh, the strains of the campaign made me
Ormond and
like
his
bastard."
army have been literally partying in Honeyholt.
Yeah.
The honey capital. He's like, "Oh, the strains, I may have drunk too much of this delicious ale."
So yeah, of course Gwain's not going to respond to that. Gwain thinks that Ormond's just going to sacrifice people for his own pride, and he's like, "What is your plan?" And it cuts away. We don't get to know. It's a little mystery. So, that's another game, but the scene feels so Game of Thrones because of that shit.
Yeah, you're right. Game of Thrones very often like teased something or posed a question, but then didn't address it in that scene, and often just didn't address it in any scene. So do you think Ormond tells Gwain his plan?
It feels like that, yes.
So what will Gwain do with that information? Will he tell Rhaenyra?
He'll tell Daeron.
Yeah, I think Gwain will like hatch a plot to try and free Daeron.
Yeah, it feels like that.
That's what we're doing here.
It feels like that's where we're going. Daeron's chained. Gwain's going to try to free him.
And maybe Gwain will sacrifice himself to try and save Daeron.
Yeah, because he accuses Ormond of only sacrificing others for his own pride. Yeah. Gwain's going to sacrifice himself to save the nephew that he loves.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think you've hit the hammer on the nail with this one.
I've nailed some hammers into the head.
Oh.
It's time for round 2 of Alicent vs. Rhaenyra.
Ding ding.
So Alicent knows that Aemon's in Harrenhal, and she knows that because Helena's psychic and none of us noticed.
And after how many episodes? Someone has actually said out loud, Helena is psychic and sees the future.
Oh, that's crazy, bro. I never know. I never knew. Well, actually, imagine the casual viewer who didn't pick up on the beast beneath the boards, who didn't pick up on he'd have to close an eye.
Yeah.
Like, this might be, I mean, obviously season 2, episode 8, like that probably came as a huge fucking curveball for a lot of people. Helena appearing in Daemon's visions. But now, okay, finally I understand. Helena's psychic, we can all move on now.
Yeah, no, I find it very satisfying. We've been saying for years that, like, wouldn't it be cool if, like, Rhaenyra or, like, Viserys or Alicent or just someone acknowledged Helena's powers? And now someone has. And, like, even better, like, Rhaenyra has, like, understood it, and she's compared it to Daenerys the Dreamer, who was the ancient Targaryens who saved the Targaryens from the dooms.
The funny thing is, if Rhaenyra is thinking about Targaryens having dreams of things that might come true, Daemon.
Yeah.
Daemon's the one who's been going through that. Daemon saw a prophecy and told Rhaenyra about it.
Yeah, Daemon said he had a vision of Emilia Clarke.
Yeah, and it would be so fun to hear Rhaenyra and Alicent talk about Daemon, because Alicent hasn't, like, barely talked about Daemon this whole time. She said to Mysaria, "Oh, we both know what he is, and they're the same. They're two sides of the same coin, and Rhaenyra's chosen to walk this path with him." But, like, she hasn't said anything about how she feels about Daemon, you know?
So, yeah, I found it very fun. I also loved just Rhaenyra's vibe and tone at this episode, which is like, yeah, nah, fuck you all. I'm just, like, doing what I gotta do to get shit done.
So Rhaenyra's got a taste for assassinations, it seems. Assassinating half-brothers.
Well,
because she's like, oh, I'll send these guys dressed as Baratheons to kill Daeron. Oh, that was fun. I'm gonna send Alicent to kill Aemond now. Hoo-hoo-hoo.
Yeah, well, and you know when she starts assassinating her brothers, it's immediately after she realized, oh no, I'm like my dad. Like, Rhaenyra cut her hand on the throne, looked at the statue of Viserys, realized she's like her father, and is like, all right, I'll just start assassinating my brothers, because that's the one thing Viserys would never do, is kill his own brother, because of Viserys' love for Daemon. So Rhaenyra is just doing the most un-Viserys-like thing possible in an attempt to not be her dad.
Well, I think that's muddied by the fact that she seems to have ordered the Daeron assassination before that moment where she's cut herself on the throne.
How do we know that? Because
she said to the Baratheon guys, "Give me your belt," and that was before the petition scene.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. That's a good point.
But I think what you said still stands thematically.
She definitely is behaving differently in this scene than she was prior. Like, this is not like hand-wringing Rhaenyra, like, oh, what would you have me do? I must protect people. I don't want to take action. Like, this is Rhaenyra going, I will do whatever harebrained bullshit is necessary to kill my enemies and secure the throne.
Whereas, like, previously she was doing whatever harebrained bullshit was necessary to try and bring an end to the war, like, peacefully. Now it's, I'll do whatever harebrained bullshit is necessary to kill my half-brothers. I do love, like, it's sort of like a farcical comedy when Alicent's like, Aemon's in Harrenhal, and Rhaenyra's like, we fucking looked in Harrenhal. There's no lizard in Harrenhal. And Alicent's like, not the lizard, you idiot.
Yeah, no, it is quite funny. But I also like how it, it acknowledges that, like, of course Rhaenyra looked at Harrenhal.
It's similar. So when Alicent's like, Helena sees shit, Rhaenyra's like, oh, a dreamer, like Daenerys. It's similar to, like, when Alice pulls the dragon eggs out in Harrenhal, and Aemon's like, oh, Rhaena.
Yeah.
Yeah, they both know their histories. They're both thinking about the Targaryen women who put them in the place they currently are now.
Rhaenyra learns that Aemond is at Harrenhal without Vhagar, and she's like, okay, how can I take advantage of this opportunity? I know, I'll send Alicent to murder her own son.
Fucking hell.
like that is a bonkers plan, right? Is that a bonkers plan?
It is, but like I think there's logic to it. She says, well, if I send normal people to go kill Aemond, that's not gonna work. Obviously that's not gonna work.
Does Rhaenyra believe that Alicent will kill her own son, Aemond?
Oh, maybe she just thinks some juicy scenes are gonna happen.
That is obviously like the what's happening here is that the writers are just trying to find a way to have more interesting scenes between Olivia Cook and Ewan Mitchell.
With Gail Rankin sitting in the corner.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Like, I think Rhaenyra's planning to send one soldier with Alicent, and that one soldier will kill Aemond is the plan.
Right.
Because, like, I think it's ludicrous to expect Alicent
to make it to Harrenhal on her own and then kill Aemond of her own volition.
I mean, Kat just said, oh, do you know what happens to women on the road? And that was the distance from King's Landing to Tumbleton,
Harrenhal is further.
Which is much shorter than the distance from King's Landing to Harrenhal. I mean, what's realistically going to happen? Like, Aemond is just going to, like, fly off with Alicent when his dragon comes back.
But the dragon's not coming back.
Well, Rhaenyra doesn't know that.
True. Well, Rhaenyra thinks that it's going to work because she's delusional. So, yeah, I think Rhaenyra is, like, the plan is crazy, and I think Rhaenyra is crazy. I think she's gotten a taste of the assassination bug and is like, oh, here's another crazy idea. I'm going to send the mother to kill the son.
I also do like Rhaenyra saying, if Aemond somehow separated from his dragon. Like, I like that line.
Like, she can't even consider that happening?
Yeah, because, like, it's an interesting mystery of, like, well, how, like, does that happen? Can that happen? What happens when that happens? Because fucking Rhaenyra, yes!
Yeah, well, Rhaenyra's never been separate from Syrax, so far as we know.
But Rhaenyra knows that Laenor is separate from Seasmoke and Laenor is alive. So why does Rhaenyra think that it's mysterious that Aemond separated from Vhagar?
Because she's forgotten that she did that. Yeah. Because the show doesn't want to admit that it did that with Laenor.
The weakest plot point in this show is Laenor disappearing. And Rhaenyra pretending to have murdered him and not telling Corlys or Rhaenys.
They should have just actually killed him. But they wanted Rhaenyra to not kill him.
Well, that's one of the problems with this show overall, is that they've removed all of Rhaenyra's most immoral, evil acts.
Yeah, I feel like she'd be a much less sympathetic character if she'd done that, but I think she might be more compelling. You know what I want? I want Rhaenyra to say, Daemon, Aemond is in Harrenhal without his dragon. Yeah. Go there and kill him. And Daemon to be like, I can't go back to Harrenhal.
Oh, yeah.
Alice said I would die.
And then Rhaenyra's like, who's Alice?
Why are we listening to Alice all of a sudden and not me?
That would be awesome.
Yeah. Oh, well. But instead it's just, okay, I guess Alicent's going to do it.
I love Rhaenyra as a character in this episode. The plot with Alicent is harebrained. And this is what we feared, like, at the beginning of this season. Was like, what are they going to do with Alicent?
Yeah.
How is the Alicent-Rhaenyra plotline going to make sense? Answer, it kind of doesn't.
No, the characters are
Sometimes
fun, but
it doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah. But the fun stuff of this scene is, like, the characters interacting with one another. Alicent grabs the scar. And can I get my points, please? for predicting this one.
Yeah, you did.
Yep.
Yeah.
How
the
do I
from
keep
season
doing...
1 when Alicent cut Rhaenyra and demanded Luke's eye.
Ryan, please, I am begging. I just want one night of uninterrupted sleep without you beaming yourself into my dreams. But yeah, Alicent grabs the scar that she made on Rhaenyra's arm, and that's fun. But like, and it's like physically intimate. Like I'm grabbing you to like relate to you. Like I'm reaching out for a relation between you and me. And then it's stopped by a strange man with a sword. Whatever's gonna happen between Alicent and Aemond and what Rhaenyra was expecting to happen at Harrenhal, it's gonna be fun. It might not make sense.
It's the War of the Three Mummies.
So Alicent is frightened that Rhaenyra is going to be in charge of Helena now.
Well, yeah, that was the other like great brutal moment, was Helena saying, I will look after Helena, being like a hostage. Like, because that is one smart element of all of this, is that Rhaenyra is letting Alicent go, but holding Helena and Jaehaera hostage.
So Alicent says goodbye to her daughter, Helena, and they both say that they don't want to be alone, but oh no, we have to be alone. It's the only way. So much talk of loneliness this episode. And Alicent insists that she didn't have a choice, but Helena says, yeah, well, you did though, didn't you? You can always refuse. You can just say no.
You can always just say, no, I will not kill my son, Aemond.
Yeah.
Helena asks why she's here, why Helena was married to her brother Aegon. She asks, did no one else want to marry me? Which is like this kind of like sad thing of, oh, was I not pretty enough?
Was I unwanted?
Want to marry me?
Yeah. And Alicent deflects blame onto Otto, saying, oh, well, I mean, Otto wanted that to happen. But, you know, I was happy with it happening. Which we saw all of that go down, and it pretty much looked like Alicent made it happen.
Yeah, Helena could have married Jace. Alicent is lying.
How much war would that have prevented? And yeah, Alicent looks away before she says that, which Helena told us is Alicent's tell for lying.
So Helena knows that Alicent is lying.
Yeah, and Alicent knows that Helena knows she's lying.
It's just so fucked, because it's like, what is Alicent even lying for at this point? Like,
well, she can't bear to like handle that she did this to her daughter.
But like the jig is up. Like everyone knows that Alicent has fucked up.
She's lying to herself.
Still?
Yeah?
She's admitted so much of her misdeeds. She has confessed and admitted that that was what season 2 episode 8 was.
Well, this is the ultimate, this is the biggest sin she could have committed in her own eyes, because this is the sin that doomed her own life. Helena asked her just then, did you do to me what your dad did to you?
Yeah.
Because you can see Otto's justification for marrying Alicent to Viserys, better you stay here with me rather than with someone I don't know. Right? Which is precisely what Alicent says to Helena.
Yeah,
so they're inhabiting the same role. Like, Alicent's become Otto, Helena's the Alicent. And now Alicent has to confront that she's done precisely the thing that ruined her life. This is the original sin to Alicent. She can't confess to it. She has to lie to herself, or else it's all fucking over. This season, Alicent has been talking about, I need to redeem Helena. I need to free Helena. And this is what it is. It's about, redeeming herself for doing the thing that fucked her life up. So Alicent forced Helena to stay in the place that they're now trying to flee. So, Alicent, all Helena's life has forced Helena to be in King's Landing, the place which now she's saying, oh, we can't be in King's Landing. We have to be free. We have to be gone of this place.
Yeah.
How's Helena supposed to handle this?
She's getting some mixed messages. Because, you get the sense that Helena is not, super attentive or knowledgeable to, what the fuck's going on in the real world.
Helena's in her own world, yeah.
Yeah, and so, this is all just confusing to Helena. I mean, it's a lot of things. It's, she's had a child murdered in front of her, and, there's a lot going on. But it's also just, I love how she just asks those simple questions, because, Helena's the truth teller. She's
she cuts at the heart of things.
She's, simple, and I say that, not in, a derogatory way, but in she gets to the heart of things. And one of those great, simple, fundamental questions is, why am I here?
Yeah.
And the answer is because Alicent and Otto hated Rhaenyra and wanted power for the Hightowers and wanted Aegon to be king and to boost his legitimacy and to have some good blonde children.
Helena exists because Hobart Hightower told Otto to make more heirs.
Yeah.
To get their house on the throne.
And because Otto pushed Alicent to be close to Viserys in his
because
time
of
of grief.
Yeah. So bloody hell. Alicent promises Helena that I'll come back, I'll collect you, we'll walk out into the sun and be free. And, when a George R. R. Martin character says something like this, it's obviously not going to happen.
Yeah. This happily ever after that we're definitely going to get. So Alicent really, really insists that Helena eat some soup.
Yeah. Oh, eat this. It definitely isn't an abortifacient.
So do you think that Alicent put moon tea in the soup? Do you think that Alicent
put the caterpillar?
The toxic caterpillar in the soup?
Look, I mean, it would make sense for her to take things into her own hands just before leaving. I can't let this happen without me. Yeah, I think that is what happened, I guess. I don't want it to be what happened, but I think it is what happened. Why otherwise would we be shown Alicent preparing soup if it's not that?
Yeah, the way that Alicent is facing away, blocking Helena from seeing the soup as she's preparing it.
And you can see Olivia Cook's heart pounding in her chest and her neck pulsating. This is a serious, huge, heavy moment. Yeah, she probably did just poison her daughter.
And there absolutely was moon tea left over.
Yeah.
Alicent didn't drink it all.
Yeah, because there was the big cup and then the little flask.
There is a lot of imagery in this episode of darkness with tiny little glimmers of light. Almost every other scene is dark with a little candlelight or a little dim fire. It's all about the last little glimmering bits of hope in this darkening world.
So there's this teeny tiny scene where Rhaenyra sits on her son's bed, failing to speak to him again. Yeah. How long has Joffrey been back from the Vale and then Rhaenyra hasn't said a word to him? Yeah. This poor kid, holy crap. Can you imagine?
This future king of Westeros, Rhaenyra's heir, doesn't even get to talk to his mummy.
That's all we know about this kid, is that he wants his mummy.
It's tough for me to believe that Rhaenyra believes that Alicent will murder her own son, Aemond. When they had that conversation in Season 2, Episode 8 about Aegon, it was this whole, long, protracted, tearful conversation where Alicent didn't even say yes. Alicent just, kind of nodded.
Tearfully shrugged in a noddingly direction. Yeah. And that was not even about Aemond. And Aemond is the son that Alicent, sort of had a little bit going on with.
Yeah, it was a really tough, protracted conversation to get Alicent to consent to allow Rhaenyra to kill Aegon.
In a hypothetical future.
Yeah, but now Rhaenyra is no, you're going to go with a sword and murder your son Aemond. And Alicent's just okay.
Well, I don't think she's okay. Don't pretend you didn't watch that scene.
Well, Alicent did not, Alicent seemed a bit shocked.
She said, I will not be part of this.
Yeah. And then Rhaenyra said, yes, you will. And Alicent was okay.
Well, okay. So if I'm Alicent, do I continue arguing with Rhaenyra or do I go and just not do it?
Well, I'm talking about Rhaenyra's perspective.
Well, Rhaenyra's fucking delusional. She sent 8 randoms dressed as Baratheons covered in shit to kill Ormond and Daeron and thought that would work.
Yeah, I think Rhaenyra's a bit fucking loco. And I think that the episode doesn't quite...
I think the season has sold that Rhaenyra is going loco. Orwyle shows up with a pizza to Rhaenyra, and the pizza comes in the form of a tunic or something that has scrawled on it, kick this dog and it will bite your hand.
It's the Baratheon tunic from the assassins that Rhaenyra sent for the High
so it is. You can even see the Crown Stag sigil. I'm a dum-dum for not noticing that. But yeah, it makes it... So Rhaenyra just sent Alicent to go assassinate Aemond and then received this saying, your assassination attempt didn't work and you are dumb and you're going to get paid back for that.
Yeah, no, that is funny because, yeah, Rhaenyra's assassination attempt with Alicent is, considerably dumber than the assassination attempt with Daeron. So I hope Rhaenyra's now thinking,
Well, yeah, she looks off into the side at this weird angle shot and you can see in her head, oh.
Maybe I overplayed my hand on this one.
Maybe I've gone a little crazy this time. Ormond wouldn't write in blood.
Well, all right.
This definitely isn't Ormond. It might be on Ormond's command, but it's not Ormond.
Well, yeah, because the Baratheon surcoat, is covered in blood. and was covered in mud. So yeah, you're right. Ormond wouldn't touch this.
The message is written in blood, I think.
I think it's John Roxton. John Roxton wrote. I think John Roxton wrote the Feast for Traitors. Blood on the wall.
And he's writing this, and like he's the dog that bites Rhaenyra's hand by kidnapping Corlys.
Yeah.
It's Johnny Roxton. He's behind everything.
I want John Roxton and the Bolcott Squad to be revealed to have some kind of like supernatural or just cool or new or just some kind of explanation for like how they are responsible for all this crazy shit, even though the random heterochrome guy was just a chump and even though the beardy man was just a chump. So it won't really make total sense. But I want John Roxton or like someone's like fucking extraordinary abilities to explain the murders happening in daylight with no witnesses.
Hang on, let's zoom back a little bit. Corlys Velaryon is giving a little speech to his men after they've defeated the Triarchy pirates who were raiding the Crown Lands, I guess. And they hung up all their corpses. And the men are singing The Bear and the Maiden Fair. That's fun.
Delightful. I would have thought that Corlys would change The Bear and the Maiden Fair to some kind of aquatic
the shark and the
alternative.
Mermaid. Yeah, the shark and the mermaid, obviously.
Yeah.
And he says, you have fought like sharks, which is such like a... Not everything has to be about the sea, man.
Yeah, are sharks known for fighting well? I mean, like sharks...
yeah, they're ferocious predators.
Well, yeah, they're predators, but do they like fight as such?
Okay.
Like, I feel like a
Sharks
shark...
hunt, they don't fight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, if you bop a shark on the nose, it fucks off.
Some of them filter feed.
Yeah.
You have filter fed like sharks. You have filter fed. You have basked like sharks.
So Corlys then says, we're needed in the city. So, like, Corlys is obeying Rhaenyra's order to help bring order to the city to replace the Gold Cloaks. And Corlys says, I have been too long away. So it seems like Corlys is, for the third time this show, returning from an absence killing pirates and is now trying to be more mature and responsible and connected to his family and to Rhaenyra.
But he gets kidnapped.
Boy.
And then I'm picturing a lot of casual viewers at home being like, who the fuck just kidnapped Corlys?
We've seen John Roxton.
Maybe I'm putting too little faith in the casual viewer then, maybe.
He's had some lines. He's bowl cut, man.
I just think that it's a little surprising for him to show up here and there's like no... Like, we saw his face in Tumbleton not too many scenes ago, so I think it's going to be weird. I think a lot of people are going to find this weird. And I think it's a bit weird as well.
Well, look, I don't know why I keep having to say this, but Rhaenyra has dragons. And the thing about dragons is that you can scout and you can see who's moving around, and if you don't like what they're doing, you can burn them. Rhaenyra should be watching Tumbleton, and if anyone leaves Tumbleton and they look suspicious...
Rhaenyra is watching Tumbleton.
Well, then what the fuck are Hugh and Olf doing?
But Hugh is stuck in the city. You watched the episode, no?
Yeah.
Hugh was busy trying to win his wife back. And doing a human George Martin character thing.
If Team Rhaenyra was working together, they would be able to like scout and they'd be able to see secret Roxton squads creeping around. Like this is near King's Landing, right?
Yeah, it can't be that far.
Yeah, because Alan just popped over.
I'm just looking to the like supposed solution to the mystery that Daemon and Rhaenyra are facing. And that like Johnny Roxton is behind it all. And like, if I'm a casual viewer of this show, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Who gives a shit about John Roxton?
Yeah, no, it's true. I don't think there will be some grand reveal.
But like, they're making him a big deal here in this scene.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is, this episode I loved in so many ways, but also it's like so much of it is set up for things that I think might be dumb in the future, but like maybe they'll bring it back in a way that I'm not seeing. A lot of things are set up for things that I think are going to be awesome.
When I first watched this episode, I loved it. After having spoken about it in more detail, I think it's a bit dumb in parts. I think that there are some scenes that are amazing, like specifically like, you know, the character moments. Like I love Rhaenyra's. Yeah, Hugh and Kat is fantastic. Even like, you know, Ulf and Daemon, I enjoy.
And like everything with Ormond, obviously.
Yeah, everything
Gwaine
with
and Darren. Holy shit.
Yeah, Ormond, Gwaine and Darren were fantastic. Tyland and Aegon and Janos were hilarious.
Very fun. Even like Baela and Alan, there's so much to chew on there.
Rhaena and Jane were great. So I think overall it's a great episode, but I agree that a lot of the plots don't bode well. Like the Alicent plot is bonkers, and I don't know how it's going to end in a way that makes sense. The murders plot, I don't see how it's going to make sense.
The more we talk about it, the more confounding it becomes.
Yeah. And so, like, we'll have to see how they land this plane in the next 2 weeks. Maybe they will land this plane in a way that is cool.
Yeah, to sum things up from my point of view, I also love this episode upon initially watching it, and the more we've talked about it, I've come to love it even more and also, like, think it's really dumb in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do love that they talking about old Queen Raina
Yeah.
and Dreamfire's eggs and
My
all this
faves.
witchy stuff is fantastic. I love that Rhaenyra's doing wild shit. I mean, Kristen's death was good, but again, like, it was missing the key line about, like, I'll not have them sing any songs about you, Kristen. There's tens of thousands dead on your account. Like, there are these lines that are about addressing, like, how wrong and misplaced Kristen's desire for glory was. And they did not say that line.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, why didn't they just give that line to Roddy or Oscar?
Yeah, it would have been really easy to do that. So, like, and I think that the writers of this show care and know the books enough to care about that line. So I'm guessing that next episode,
Yeah, someone might say it.
Oscar and Roddy and Black Allie will sing about Kristen, and they'll sing about him being a fucking dunce.
Right.
Because they established that those characters like to sing.
Yeah,
about the war. So, like, I think that there will be some kind of payoff that will address what Kristen means.
Okay, that's an interesting idea.
They could also have Kristen's head on a spike because they had Jason's head on a spike.
Yeah.
So, like, we can still have Fabian Frankel involved.
Well, that's nice.
Yay. But in a way that, like, makes the song and makes whatever discussion more, like, directed at Kristen as a character. You know, we keep him in mind.
Alt-Swift X.
Yeah.
What is this episode called?
Something about, like, Aemond and Alice and Harrenhal, maybe.
Lady of the Water.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think Lady of the Water is great because that connects to all of the mothers in this show.
Yeah. It's also, like, so Baela also is returning to Salton Sea from Fire and Blood, which is the opposite of what she declared in Season 2. So she's becoming a Lady of the Water as well.
Yeah. I like it.
Huge themes in this episode are loneliness and becoming your dad and becoming your mum and reaching for your dad and reaching for your mum. So that's the title.
I think that that's a long one.
Yeah, it's gonna have to scroll across the web streamer.
Yeah, I think it's just a hope. I think this episode is about hope in the face of despair.
Oh, that was the last episode. That was the whole show.
It is the whole show.
That was George R. R. Martin's Dying of the Light.
I think it was a great episode. Well,
it was a great dumb episode.
I do get the feeling that the next 2 episodes might be extraordinarily dumb.
But they might be fucking awesome.
Yeah, but like it's going to be like spectacle, right? We're going to get a battle. We're going to get, like, big loud noise. Like, there isn't as much time for, like, slow, thoughtful character exploration in the final 2 episodes, surely.
Well, they've done a lot of that in the past 4 and 5 episodes.
Yeah.
That I think it's time to cash in. And the way to do that is for characters to make big decisions during spectacle.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
I agree.
I think we could have a huge 1-2 punch finale situation.
Yeah.
It could also be extraordinarily dumb. The murder mystery thing I'm not hopeful for, but the rest of it I'm pretty happy about. Even with the Alicent thing sounding dumb, I think it's going to be a lot of fun just to have all those characters together. I think the writers are going to cook with those characters together.
This show has been consistently great with the performances and the characterization of almost all of the characters, and it's always looked spectacular. The places where the show has failed is, like, sometimes the structure and pacing is weird, and sometimes the plots and intrigue are convoluted and nonsensical.
Yeah.
And so I think that all of the above will be true for the next 2 episodes.
Yeah.
I think that the performances will be great, the spectacle will be great, some of the plot lines will make no fucking sense.
Something I would like to add on to the things that are great is themes, because this show, like, I think it's relatively consistent. The themes episode to episode are just, like, so, like, that's how these podcasts are 7 hours long.
Yeah.
Is that we're talking about the way that each scene relates to the other scenes in the other episodes. It's the intertextuality of all the themes of all of the entire show.
Yeah.
It's also because we stammer a lot and, like, interrupt each other and keep making weird references no one's going to understand.
It's true. Yeah. Yeah, look, I think the show does succeed at like its biggest job, which is to meditate on power and gender and relationships and family and morality
And love.
and love and hope. It
The
does
human
that.
condition.
Yeah, it does do that.
A war of attrition.
This was Dragon Time.
This was Dragon Time.
Thank you so much for listening to Dragon Time. We have fun making it.
We
I hope
mega
that you have
appreciate
fun
it.
listening. We really super mega appreciate
Yeah,
everyone
super
who
duper
listens.
mega awesomely appreciate the more adjectives I add on, the more sarcastic it sounds. No, we really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it's a privilege.
We do love this, and we love it. We're doing this in Stratford.
Yeah,
It's fucking bullshit.
I mean, we're seeing Harrenhal soon.
Yeah, we get to brood in Harrenhal together.
Finally.
Yeah, that's what we've always wanted.
I packed my harp. So we'll see you next week. Keep it real.
Keep it fresh.
A famous sign off at the end of every episode. As we say on Dragon Time, keep it real, keep it fresh.
Stay frosty, corn dogs. Wow, that sure was Dragon Time. Can you believe it that it's time for the spoiler zone once again? What do you think about that, Alt Swift X?
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw, welcome to the spoiler zone. Get out of here if you don't have a spoiler license. You got a license for that spoiler, mate. Anyway, it's the spoiler zone.
The opening sequence shows two people pulling apart a yellow thing, and I'm becoming more convinced that that yellow thing is Cyrax's wing, which we see in the prior shot in the opening sequence.
Right.
So I think this is the storming of the dragon pit where the common people kill the dragons.
It is interesting that the credits embroidery is giving us spoilers for things that haven't happened in the show yet.
Well, no doubt Helena is the one doing the embroidering.
That
and
makes
sees
sense.
that future.
Well, spoiler zone, very, very spoiler zone. I wonder what's going to happen to the embroidery once Helena dies. Are they going to do something with that? That's an interesting idea.
Well, I hope Helena survives the entire series, and at the end of the finale, the opening tapestry zooms out, and we just see Fia Saban just like dabbing at the camera.
Hell yeah.
That's what
It
I
only
hope
makes
for.
sense.
Yeah.
I am a fan of all the little ways they're setting up tension between Rhaenyra and the Dragon Seeds.
Totally.
I think it's pretty cool how we see that girl see Daemon and Ulf have a spat in the streets. That Hugh and Kat's tension is being pulled at. That Corlys is being... Corlys being captured by Johnny Roxon is like, what?
Yeah.
But at least, I can see where they're going with it as it pertains to Adam's choice.
Yeah, like
in
Adam's
coming
gonna
episodes.
want to go and rescue Corlys instead of
Yeah.
helping
And,
Rhaenyra do whatever she wants to
It's
do.
all there. Ormond's gonna offer something to all three of them.
Yeah.
Or maybe they are going to make the choices independent of Ormond. I hope it's from Ormond.
I reckon, my guess is Ormond offers a big bag of gold to Ulf and says, hey, come drink in this pub at Old Town.
Or what if I
Bring
make
your
you...
friends.
I'll make you Lord of Tumbleton.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that Ormond will buy Ulf and bribe Ulf to change sides.
Yeah. Hugh's going to be upset. He's lost his wife.
Yeah. With Hugh, I think it's all about Cat. And I think that Hugh will try and save Cat and sort of inadvertently get caught up in the war. I think that Ulf will choose to support Ormond, whereas Hugh, maybe it'll be more of a sort of a accidental, inadvertent thing. He's trying to save Cat, or angry and hates himself, and I don't know. I think Hugh's gonna have a lot of feelings.
Yeah, it could be that Ormond poses, I can help you win your wife back by making you more powerful or some shit like that.
I don't know if Ormond will approach Hugh.
Yeah, the Ulf thing definitely, because
Yeah.
that's the thing, is that we know Ormond knows about Ulf's tension, but we don't know that he knows about... there were people in the streets watching the Hugh Cat scene. Yeah, but then, of course, Ormond's also kidnapped Corlys, and Adam's gonna want to free Corlys. There are people out there who think that Dragon Time is a real song and have never heard of Closing Time by Semisonic.
Yeah, no, that was me for the first few months of that song.
Welcome to the Clone Zone. I'm here today with my clone.
I'm Glidus's clone. What do you really think about Jane Aaron?
Jane Aaron, I think that she's a rock star. I think she's like an alien rock star in the vein of like David Bowie.
Yeah, she does have that quality of I came from space and I'm here to party.
Yeah.
And if you don't get me, that's fine.
She thinks that gravity is fascinating. Isn't that lovely? Isn't that a lovely detail? Run, Vermithor.
Voomp, voomp.
I'm a big dragon.
Voomp, voomp. I want a compilation of Glidus doing dragon noises.
That's Vermithor.